loss and the drama of Tua calling out some of his teammates for being late to meetings, and Tua being ripped for saying it out loud. He has since apologized. Good times. Once again, the Finns will try to get the train back on the tracks for the game against the Browns in Cleveland today. Frustration abounds in Miami Gardens. The Tua comments didn't help. And Mike McDaniel says he's done with it. It's time to concentrate on games.
The first, last, and only thing, if I have anything to say about it, and I did in several meetings today, is the Cleveland Browns and our focus within that.
It's another Gameday Uncensored.
It's been another chaotic week in Dolphins land. Calls for people's jobs, call-outs for people missing meetings. Frustration prevails. A lot of noise. Tua apologized for being at the center of it.
I've made a mistake, and I'm owning up to that right now. I've talked to guys on the team about it, talked to the leaders about it, and they know my heart. They know that the intent was right, but no matter the intent, the intent can be right, but when things get misconstrued or however the media wants to portray it, that leaves a void of silence and a lot of questions for the guys on our team.
Today, the Dolphins will try to keep it on the field. They're in Cleveland for a tilt with the Browns. Zach Sealer just wants to play football and win.
I'm frustrated. We're 1-5 right now. We need to start building together on everything we just talked about and really kind of just pull these wins in. And you start building. You'll want to know this week and just go from there.
Let's play the game. Nothing else. Sounds good. In just a bit, the Dolphins and Browns will kick it off. We're kicking it off now with Gameday Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans. With Tobin and Solana, Omar Kelly, and Chris Perkins on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Gameday Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get offers on select models now through September 2nd. Learn more at Lexus.com. Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. When it comes to scoring a rugged new truck, Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet is the MVP of selection. Visit EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com and start shopping today. Remember, you're always backed by Morse. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
Well, this last week wasn't traumatic enough. We just decided we're going to play the old opens. I guess whoever made our opens this week is like, what's the point of making a big open for this week anymore? What's the point? What's going to happen? That's because, how long, though, in the middle of that, Solana, we had to listen to it, and I was like, I think this is old. Because, every week it's just started with, this is a controversial-filled week, and Tua said some dumb bleep. Wait. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of off. We kind of did all this. And this week we take on the Browns. No! Wrong one, big boy. No!
What's great is, I mean, Tobin, right away, I'm like, Tua's given us enough ammo this week. We didn't have to harp on his questions from last week. I mean, we've got enough to talk about this week, man.
Marcos sitting here goes, there's another one in here. Should we play that one? That one also just introing the Browns. So we tried to go two opens. We're pivoting here. It's no one's around here 9:00 on a Sunday morning. But heavens to Betsy. Wrong, dude. Whatever. All right. Well, anyway, look, we'll that's a legal formation on Gameday Uncensored. But let's get on into it, everybody. They take on the Falcons today. It's going to be a riveting matchup. They are over a touchdown underdog on the road in Atlanta. They have Bijan Robinson just licking his chops, thinking about what he can do against this defense. Tua, he's losing receivers left and right. Darren Waller's now out. Julian Hill, my sweet Julian Hill, he looks like he's out. Jalen Waddle's got a busted hammy. What could go wrong?
Two busted hammies.
Hey, Chan, save us! Hey, Chan! That's the game plan. Just give it to HN and see what he can do. Yeah, it kind of works out for the Canes. The Canes are doing the same thing with Malachi Toney.
Yep.
Malachi, save us! Somewhere, we need Malachi Toney and Devon Achane. They need to go share a panini and just talk about how they're just carrying their teams.
Imagine the meeting this week for Devon Achane. It's like, all right, you think you can score 18 touchdowns for us this Sunday? Because we might need that. Like that's exactly what we need.
Go over the game plan here, guys. All right, we're gonna do that thing. We're gonna dump it off to Achane, and I know there's gonna be like 9 people gunning for him, but he's fast.
Mm-hmm.
He's fast. That's it. That's what we got. That's what we got here for you. It was a less. Look. I gotta be honest with you, Solana. Stephen Ross is a very, very patient boss. Because. I don't know how you could just take an ass kicking like they did last week and you have a game like that. And he's just like, just let him, we'll just ride this out. Because it's not going to get lower than that this year. Like, it's not going to get lower than losing to Cleveland 1-5. Your record may get worse, but I don't know if it could get lower than, like, is there not even competing on the feet, not even a close loss, just getting boat raced by the Cleveland Browns. Is there a worse option on their schedule that they could pick from on the menu?
I don't know, because here's what we know. Unless it got embarrassing, right? Unless it got really embarrassing for the Miami Dolphins, Stephen Ross is going to be patient. And then Mike McDaniel had the worst and most embarrassing loss of his career as a head coach, and Stephen Ross was like, nah, go ahead, do it again. Go out there next Sunday and try to turn things around. So I don't know. Like, we found out from the reports from Ian Rappaport, hey, unless this gets embarrassing, unless this gets out of hand, Stephen Ross doesn't look to make a change. And then it got out of hand. It got embarrassing, worst loss of his career. And Stephen Ross is like, no, I don't want to make a change yet. So Tobin, to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know if it can get more embarrassing than getting blown out by the Cleveland Browns, getting outplayed by the 1-5 Cleveland Browns. But this team continues to surprise me every single week. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Well, they got the Saints coming up at home after the bye. I guess it could get worse.
Right, but what about today? I mean, today on the road in a dome, these are supposed to be the perfect conditions for Tua Tagovailoa. Yeah. And if this team if this team gets outplayed by a backup quarterback again, and gets embarrassed.
Quarterback.
Yeah, a very expensive backup quarterback, but a backup quarterback nonetheless.
Fair enough. Yeah, well, I don't know. They're touchdown underdogs today, over touchdown underdogs today against the Falcons. So I almost feel like this would be one of the bigger upsets of the week. I don't know how many spreads are bigger than that. I'm sure there's a couple, but there's not many that are going to be bigger than a 7.5 point spread for a game this week.
There's actually a 15-point spread in the NFL this week, and it's the Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans, which is insane. Indiana Jones has a 15-point advantage over Cam Ward.
At least some things have like kept up with the Dolphins being terrible. Like the Colts were good. Rico Dowdle is humming right now.
He might be the best running back in the NFL. The Patriots are good.
It has been an interesting year. But
Tobin, I tried to do this to you last week. I'm like, hey, if you're trying to look at some silver linings here, I tried to do that, but none of it matters, and it all rings hollow when you get blown out by the Cleveland Browns. That entire spiel goes out the window when Tua throws 3 interceptions against the Browns.
I don't know if you heard. I don't know how much you could hear the show before we get on here. They do that against the spread show.
Yeah.
There's nothing quite like sports radio, like handicapping shows, like early on in the days. It's still a charm to that, even when gambling wasn't legalized. A tradition as old as time is the handicapper show. I got the best picks. Call me up. Like people still doing that. Respect to the old school game. But this guy was saying they're like, how do you go out there, Randy, and make the best things happen? He goes, I work the phones. I got my sources. And apparently he's just in the middle of this. I don't know. This is not Adam Schefter, obviously, or Ian Rappaport or or any, Josina Anderson or Diana Rossini. This is just handicapper. He goes, people are telling me Dolphins giving up a fourth for Julio Sanders. I was like, what? You're just dropping things like that in the middle of the handicapping show?
Wow.
I was like, wow. Marco's like, were you not stunned when you heard that?
I was just like, us? We're doing this?
What?
You ever hear a rumor about yourself? And you're like, me? I did that?
I was, what? What do you mean?
And it was just out of nowhere. Like he didn't expand on it. He just kind of dropped that in the middle of the Browns Falcons analysis, or the Dolphins Falcons analysis.
He's just like, I hear this. The streets are talking. Dolphins getting Shedeur Sanders for a 4th round pick. Oh wow! All right,
just moved on right after.
Yeah, there was no. He's got other picks to get to. He didn't have more things to say.
No, I mean, forget the picks. He's got to give out the number 18 more times in the next 2 minutes.
Oh, man. Gameday Uncensored brought to you by the Lexus TX. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. Lots to get into. We'll get into that hellacious loss that was the Browns last week as Gameday Uncensored rolls on. We got Chris Perkins going to stop by. Omar Kelly going to stop by. And we'll get you ready for all the action here today as the Dolphins get set to take on the Falcons in Week 8 of the NFL season. Back with more after this.
I'm Andrew Wiggins of the Miami Heat. Congratulations to WQAM on its move to FM at 104.3. Congratulations.
WQAM broadcasting live from the Ed Moore Sawgrass Auto Mall Studios.
Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here, brought to you by Edmore Sawgrass Auto Mall. Edmore Sawgrass Buick GMC's entire inventory is on sale, and all backed by Morse. Click Edmore Sawgrass BuickGMC.com to start shopping. We are GMC. We are professional grade. Dolphins getting set for the Atlanta Falcons. Week 8 last week. They lost 31-6 to the Browns.
Thanks for reminding me, Tobin. Appreciate that.
Yep. That did happen. If you guys, you spent your hard-earned time watching the Miami Dolphins get absolutely throttled in one of his worst games ever. I mean, the defense was no great shakes early on for sure. Some really dumb penalties, but yeah, man, I don't know how you don't come away with that game just like shaking your head at the quarterback. He didn't even finish the game. We got the Quinn Ewers era started up, which what we saw last week. Oh, Quinn Ewers is QB too. Got to see him for a couple of drives there. It was truly awful, Solana.
It's everything, right? You mentioned, Quinn Ewers is number 2. And even when you dive into that conversation, you're like, what the hell is going on here? Like, what the hell is Mike McDaniel doing? It's funny because we brought up the Tennessee game from 2021, Tua playing in cold weather. We did the whole entire segment, him going up to Maryland and throwing with his brother and trying to figure out ways to really just be a more effective quarterback in less ideal weather. And I mean, it was the worst game he's ever played, Tobin, considering the circumstances, considering the expectations. That was the worst game of Tua Tagovailoa's career. That was the worst loss of Mike McDaniel's career. It was just flat out embarrassing. There's no other way to put it. It was flat out embarrassing all around, top to bottom for this organization. You didn't just lose to a bad team. You got embarrassed by a bad team.
Yeah, and I know we had the wrong open play, but it was almost a reminder of like everything that was going into that game of how much Tua was dealing with the controversy of the player meeting stuff, and they started talking about it like right away on the broadcast. Spiro Didis and D-Dace, whatever it is.
Didis.
Adam Archuleta were like,
you said it two. How'd you say it 2 ways and neither of them were right?
I thought it was D-Dace, but I don't think it is D-Dace. Didis? I don't know.
Spiro Didis.
Spiro Didis.
No, that doesn't sound right.
Did you see him and Archuleta are talking about how many times they've called Cleveland Browns games?
It was the angriest I got all day. I was like, this is how bad the game has gone. I got an Adam Archuleta, Spiro Didis recap and reminiscing about how many Browns games they do because they're the five.
Right. They're like, man, we've done a lot of Browns games. And then there's a graphic. They've done 37 Browns games in the past 5 years. And it's like, you guys are kind of flexing the fact that you're put on the worst broadcast every single Sunday, you clowns.
No, listen, good. There is a comfort. Good. I mean, we all got to run into Archuleta and Spiro every once in a while.
I'm hating. I mean, our big production. We played the wrong open to start the show.
I mean, it was crazy, dude. It was absolutely crazy. But yes, they said early on in the broadcast that Tua apparently admitted to them that he went to one of the sports apps. They just called it the CBS sports app, but he went to one of his sports news apps and he was literally every headline. And he's like, and this was at the point where I knew I bleeped up.
Mm-hmm.
and to make it right, I'm gonna throw the ball to the Browns. What? Throw it to the Browns? I mean, like, it was really bad. It was, first of all, like, the defense started off really undisciplined. I mean, Zach Sealer, dude, like, this has been such a bad year. And I love Zach Sealer. Everybody knows that. All right. He's playing Rock'em Sock'em Robots with the quarterback. He's done this multiple times this year. Just like an undisciplined grizzly bear, just smacking QBs upside the head. And, I don't know at this point. He's just had a really bad season.
Yeah, what do you do with that? I mean, you can't rely on any of your best players, Tobin, other than Devon Achane. I
don't know. I don't know what you do.
Like, even for all the conversations about Mike McDaniel, and look, I'm not defending the dude. His record speaks for himself. This dude's 10-21 on the road as a head coach. That's embarrassing. Tobin, that's 10-21 on the road. He's 11-20 in his last 31 games, 29-29. Right smack in the middle, 500 on his career as a head coach. And he's actually 29-31 if you include the 0-2 record in the playoffs. But 11-20 in his last 31 games. I mean, the team trended upward to start his career in 2022 and obviously in 2023. And it's been downhill on the slopes ever since. We're talking Black Mountain, and you're tumbling the whole way down. Like it's bad, and he can't rely on any of his players to help him. His best players, the highest paid players, Tyreek Hill's on the sideline. He's not coming back anytime soon. Tua can't even see Jalen Waddle, so forget about that. Tua's just throwing the ball to everybody else on the other field. His best and his longest tenured linemen have been out all season. And on the defensive side, all of his captains have been trash. Every single one of them haven't been able to make plays. Like, I mean, to a certain extent, Mike McDaniel, I don't know how he still has his job, but on the flip side, I kind of feel for Mike McDaniel, man. I really do. As much as I hate hearing him talk, like, he can't look to anybody on the team who's supposed to be there for him to set bleep straight and rely on them. Like, that's how bad this team has gotten.
There's nobody reliable. The game goes, this is just like where it gets out of hand immediately, right? Like the first quarter, pretty uneventful. And then Judkins, they thought they had an interception. It gets waved off by a Minkah Fitzpatrick penalty, which was questionable. It was questionable.
Yeah.
But then, of course, the next play, it's a 50-yarder to the house. It's just like, bang. Like, okay, cool.
Of course.
You're like, all right, how are we going to respond? We're going to respond by special teams just yakking up the football. You're just like, are you kidding me, dude? Like, this is what this is going to become. They go up. They, of course, score on the next drive because, of course. And, it's like already it feels over. It feels over.
Tobin, the perfect sequence for me. This is the perfect sequence for me. This is Miami Dolphins football my entire life. Ready? Bad first half. Okay, fine. It's the Browns. You could survive a bad first half. You get the ball to start the second half. Let's go. What'd you do in the locker room? What were those conversations like? Did you have a Udonis Haslam moment where he's in your face yelling at somebody, right? Like, what are we doing here? How are we going to respond to this adversity? Backs against the wall, season's on the line. Tua comes out, throws a pick six on the first play. Okay, fine. But like, hey, you made a mistake. Tua, let's go. Get right back in it. Team, how do you lift up your quarterback who's clearly going through it right now? They kick the ball back to you, and there's a holding call on a pretty good return. You come back. Like, I mean, those are two consecutive plays. Pick six, and then decent return when you get the ball back, but holding, it's coming back anyways. You've got a quarterback who's just out of sync. You've got a team that is so mother bleeping undisciplined. It's just a disaster, man. And I wish I could say, it's a joke, but it's not. I mean, that's Dolphins football, ladies and gentlemen, my entire life. No, that's Dolphins football.
It's an absolute real life nightmare is what it is. It's a real, like, we're just experiencing it every week.
Man.
Damn. But I think the thing that's just like, it's like, man, it was the Browns. The Browns hadn't scored. What did they say at the end of the broadcast? Like 17 straight games.
The Browns,
like 11 straight games with 17 or less points.
11 consecutive games. The Browns had not scored 17 or more points.
I mean, technically, you gave them 14.
Yeah.
I mean, Tua basically threw 2 pick sixes, so still, right. I guess still holds up, but jeez.
No, I mean, but Tobin, just quickly here, man, because I'd kind of gone through the numbers on Monday with Hawk and Crowder, and I'm saying you lose the turnover battle. It led to 21 Browns points. You have half as many penalty yards as total yards. 103 total yards compared to 219 total yards of offense. By the way, 86 of those were on 2 plays. Literally, 86 of them were on 2 plays. You're 1-13 on third down. You don't score touchdowns on either of your trips to the red zone. And then 12 yards of offense, including 2 false starts, on 16 first down plays. Like, Tobin, this team gets the ball. And look, I know we don't want to rehash everything from last week, but this stuff matters moving forward because you're trying to figure out, okay, this team roster-wise is not very good. How can they trim the margins? How can they put themselves in positions to continue to move the chains? And Tobin, I don't know. I don't know, especially against a good Falcons defense. And I know we'll get into it, but 12 yards of offense on 16 first down plays. Mike McDaniel's play design has to come into question, but also the offensive line is so bad, you can't run the football. So it's literally 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10, sometimes 2nd and 13 because Tua's throwing outs behind the line of scrimmage every single time. This team is set up so poorly on every single down unless Devon Achane breaks 17 tackles and gets you the first. It's bad, man. Like this is new depths of hell for McDaniel and the Dolphins.
No, it's depressing. It really it's been a complete bleep show. And that's why it's like, you know, I said after the game, I'm just like, you have like this is it. Like there's no other pivot point at this point. It's not like, hey, let's get this going in another direction. Let's try some other stuff. It's over, dude. It's never been more over. Like it was already over, but like there didn't need to be any more signature of like, this is the time where you clean house. And when you don't do it, you're just like, nah, let's have it. Let's keep on riding this thing till the year is over. And it's like, why? Like, just you're not going to show your fans at all that you give a rat's ass about this. Like, you're not going to. Every fan is angry, is heartbroken, is embarrassed, and you're just sitting here being like, whatever. You know, all we get to hear is the Mike McDaniel report every week about how Stephen Ross, you know, is very frustrated, but obviously not frustrated enough to get rid of him.
Hey, appeal to Stephen Ross's emotions as a human being, I'm saying. Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer obviously have. You're set for life. You always have a job. Because clearly, if he just thinks you're a good dude, he won't fire you. Like, give me any other reason why he hasn't made a coaching change here. And again, I say this as somebody who doesn't call for people's jobs. Genuinely, Tobin. Like, that's not... I'll rip Chris Greer. I'll say the dude should be fired, but I'm not sitting here saying fire Chris Greer. I'm not raising a banner, flying it. I hate doing that type of stuff.
It's like a semantic samurai thing. You're kind of calling for his job. Like you have
perhaps.
Perhaps on the radio. Like it seems like the same thing. I don't think like
perhaps, but I hate doing it. I want to make that clear. I hate doing it. How in the world could you rationalize other than how in the world could you rationalize other than thanks, Marcos? The fact that Stephen Ross likes these guys is why they're still there.
The Mike McDaniel thing, I think Mike McDaniel probably is a really likable guy. And that was the whole thing at the end of the Flores thing, right? It was like nobody liked him anymore. He was a jerk. Because like his coaching record didn't deserve to get fired, but nobody seemed to like working with the guy. Now you have a coach who started off red hot and it just continues to crater. And it's just like, yeah, but everybody kind of digs him. It's like, yeah, well, Jalen Ramsey didn't dig him because he didn't want to play for the team anymore. You know, his whole thing was, I'm a player's coach. You know, it doesn't feel like Raheem Mostert. That was his guy. Kind of felt like he was rats off a ship. And now they did some damage control this week, but like, I mean, him and Tua has been a little snippy in the media,
bro.
It's a little snippy in the media, and that's like what all of this, if it's built on anything, has been built on the Tua McDaniel harmonious relationship. That's all this. That's what this era was defined by. And now it's like, yeah, now that the ship's sinking, these two kind of hate each other as well.
But that's my biggest point here. McDaniel's number one job, other than win games, was what? Come in here and turn Tua Tagovailoa's career around, right? Like that was why he was brought in here. Offensive guru and genius play designer. You're going to come in here. You're going to turn our first round quarterback investment around. And at the very least, he could hang his hat on the fact that he did. Tua's two best seasons came under Mike McDaniel's tutelage. Great. Awesome. But now, McDaniel, I read you the record. It's embarrassing. The Dolphins' overall record right now, embarrassing. They're getting blown out on the road against the Browns. And he can't even look back on his project, his quarterback, the Dolphins' investment, the reason he's still here, and say, at least that guy's playing well. There is no reason. There is absolutely nothing you can point to say, yeah, he still deserves to be here and still continues to do his job, because there isn't a single thing you can point to, especially Tua Tagovailoa's regression, to back it up.
Piece of news here from the Miami Dolphins. They just tweeted this out. Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa has been added to the injury report with an illness, but will have no game status designation. He is expected to start today. So this is Tua's Michael Jordan flu game right here. We'll take a what?
Said here we go.
Here we go. We'll take a break. We'll get more into this because Mike McDaniel was asked about, is he going to stick with Tua? Is there any chance that Tua could get benched? We did see Quinn Ewers make his season debut last week. We'll take a break here on Game Day Uncensored. More to come on FM 104.3 WQAM.
I'm Jonah Gadjevich of the Florida Panthers. Congratulations to WQAM on a
Day Uncensored. The pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Got a loaded day down here today. We got the Heat home opener coming up later on tonight. You, of course, can hear that on the station. And Solani excited tonight. The Knicks are in town.
Vibes are high, man.
Vibes are high right now.
Right? Vibes. I don't think the vibes have been that high for a Heat basketball game or going into a Heat basketball game. I mean, you remind me, Tobin. We'll get into it later. But Marcos, Tobin's going to be sick of me by the end of the day. Like, we're literally doing 4 hours this morning. Then we're doing 4 hours later at the Heat game. He's helping me out today. Like, Tobin's going to be sick of me tonight.
No, well, the real winners are, though. The listeners.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Well, that's if the Dolphins win and if the Heat win. Certainly the Heat win at night.
I think the Heat can win. I have no faith the Dolphins can win. I'm at 0 for this game.
Really?
Which I guess, yeah, dude. Like, come on. That Bijan Robinson's going to do whatever he wants. Like, that defense is embarrassing. Like, what's the case that just the Falcons are average? The Dolphins are one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep doing this where every week, all week, I'm like, oh, this team's bad. This team's bad. And then we get to the show on Sunday, and I don't know. It's just a part of me of being a fan. That's like, maybe I just have some blind optimism still left in me, or I'm just stupid.
Really?
Maybe I'm just stupid that I keep buying into this team. But even last week, I was trying to make the case, Tobin, like, hey, Tua's going to bounce back. I still think he's talented. I don't think he's bad. And I guess I'm clinging on to the fact that this game is being played in a dome. Am I stupid?
I see your point, but also, like, he's running out of targets, dude. And he does seem like, you see all the opinions that are out there, like Kurt Warner saying he thinks he's lost confidence. I mean, Richie Incognito is just saying he's ass. I mean, plenty of guys are just dancing on his grave for being terrible. And then you just have, like, you know, the first time, like, this is the first time ever we've had Mike McDaniel. He got the old Brian Flores question of, are you sticking with Tua? Now, he did not say Tua's my quarterback, but this was Mike McDaniel earlier in the week when asked if Tua is his starter going forward.
Taught not to assume anything in journalism, and since Tua leads the league in interceptions, I guess we probably should ask you, will he take all the first team practice snaps this week, and will he be your starter for the next several weeks barring injury?
Yeah, he's going to take the snaps this week, and he's going to be our starter this week. And my expectation is that we don't throw 10 picks.
No. Jesus. He might have preferred Tua's my quarterback. Tua's our quarterback to that one. I mean, he hit him with a hammer with that. Jeez Louise. We did see Quinn Ewers last week. Wouldn't say that I was like, oh, you know, first of all, he almost got killed again by Jonas Savaianaya, who, man, he's bad. Maybe he'll get better, but this year, bad football player. And, you know, Quinn Ewers, but he did get that one pass to D. Eskridge down, even when he was about to get annihilated. So
it was beautiful. Well, he did get annihilated, but he was able to throw the ball. And not gonna lie, Tobin, it was
it was nice.
I mean, he got lit up. He was kind of a little unbalanced. The ball it wasn't a perfect spiral, but there was just arm strength. There was accuracy. He got bleep done. You know what I mean? Like, he stood there in the pocket like a man. He looked the part on that one throw. Now, take me back to his first throw, and I was done with the guy. I'm like, you know what? Get me Zach Wilson.
That was a tough first drive. That was a tough first drive. That was like, oh my God. But, like, did you see the reaction of Mike McDaniel after it happened? Like, he just gives him the cold shoulder.
What was that?
Oh,
what was that, man?
I don't know, dude. Did you see that, Foggy?
Yeah, I was actually very confused. That's like a small story. No one's really talking. Does he hate him?
I don't know.
You don't deserve to be here.
I don't know. I mean, I think he hates Zach Wilson because Zach Wilson, he went on this whole thing like, we targeted Zach, and, you know, he hasn't been in the right situation. And then, like, he goes, everybody was right about him. Third string. He's just like, forget the Zach Wilson thing. We're done with it. We're moving on. He stinks. Everybody else is right. $6 million.
I can't believe they decided, hey, big season, we're going after Zach Wilson. Reclamation project. Zach Wilson.
Yep.
Huh? What?
No sense. It made that was like the one move in the offseason where I was definitely like, why does he get that much money? I don't understand. Like, if you would have given it like, $2 million, because people will say, quarterbacks, they get paid a lot. Like, Mac Jones didn't get that much money. Mac Jones lighted it up. I hate Mac Jones, and he's lighting it up.
But if you're paying $6 million, Tobin, and you would have got me a Jameis Winston, you would have got me, there's several backup quarterbacks around the league where I'm looking and I'm saying, okay, that makes sense, right? Like, those guys are backup quarterbacks. They're established. And I hate to use the word Jacoby Brissett because, we've done that already once, but a guy like that who has been a backup quarterback, they've shown you they can come in, they can win a game, they can win 2 games, and they can keep your season alive. But Zach Wilson was a third-string emergency quarterback last year, lost the backup job in Denver. He's not even backup worthy right now. The Dolphins said, hey, that's who we're getting to, quote-unquote, potentially salvage our season. But you know why I wasn't too frustrated about it in the offseason? Because I was at the point of, which was my point the year prior. If Tua Tagovailoa gets hurt again, Tobin, I'm not talking having to miss a game. I'm talking, 4-game concussion, hurt, or, another injury that costs him 4 or 5 games. He has to be out. Then what are we doing here with Tua? Because I was sick of having a quarterback every year that is going to potentially miss 4 to 5 to 6 games every single season. And I hate that being the standard of, we got to have a worthy quarterback who could play 6 games a season because our quarterback, our franchise guy that we paid $250 million to, is going to miss 6 games a season. That's the expectation. That's just an awful way to approach the season. So I just wasn't as concerned. I didn't like the move. It just wasn't something I was hung up on. But now that I see that they paid $6 million, instead of investing that money into backups for the offensive line, into secondary players, into better weapons for the team, point to every single effing direction you want to, they spent $6 million there, and now he's behind a 7th-round pick. What?
It's crazy. No, and that's the thing is, like, they already didn't have a ton of cap space. Like, they're signing linemen with torn Achilles. Like, they're already scraping the bottom of the barrel. And it's like, that's what you used a chunk of your money on. And we all knew, like, this, he sucks. And we shouldn't expect that he was going to be good. The only reason is because you're just like, this is the rage all over the place, is that, Sam Darnold gets it going, and Baker Mayfield gets it going, and Danny Jones gets it going. But, like, dude, at his last stop, he didn't, like, even suit up, I don't know. Anyway, so later on in the week, after Mike McDaniel's snarkiness, Tua was asked about McDaniel's 10 picks comment. Here's what the Dolphins QB had to say.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. No, like, you don't want anyone that's going in there to hinder the team from being able to win a game, right? And as I said, earlier, you go out there, like, for me, I go out there with the expectation to help our team win. You turn the ball over the way I've turned the ball over this year. You can't expect to help the guys win the game. My job as a quarterback is to get our offense going, just march down the field, put points on the board, regardless of what that looks like. 3, 6, whatever that looks like, right? And you can't do that when you're turning the ball over. So that's what I got to say.
Yeah, he has been crazy. He was trying to make some jokey jokes this week about the turnover and bunches thing. Tua had a pretty good press conference this week. I was like, he's going to get through this normally. He's taking accountability, no drama. But then he said one thing that everybody pounced on like a bunch of hyenas because he had the audacity to reveal, I'm not tall.
Yeah, I think with that, some of it has to do with being able to see guys, with their guys also up front and our guys. And I'm not the tallest guy in the back there either. So being able to see, and then, sometimes when that happens, you don't want to just throw it blindly. and you got to progress. So I think that had some merit to reasons as to why that happened for Waddle.
Yeah, Waddle only getting one target last week, and I think the play that they were referring to was the pick six, where he has Waddle open, but he decides I'm going to throw it to HN because, of course, but he threw it too high, and HN got lit up and dropped it, and it got taken to the house.
Tobin, I want to make this clear. I'm saying this every week. All the overreaction, all the maybe it's not overreaction, but just reaction. The fan base losing their mind. All these comments getting taken to national media outlets. It's because the Dolphins stink. Like, don't get it twisted. What Tua just said there, I don't think he should say that. I just think he's oversharing. He hangs out with Mike McDaniel, Mick Ramblin, way too long. So he's almost picked up the art a little bit of just oversharing. He's oversharing. He doesn't have to talk about that. But he's being honest, and that's how he is, brother, when he gets to the microphone. But he's not wrong. He's not wrong about what he's saying, and it's also not unheard of for a quarterback to say that, right? Like, I saw clips. He said it before. I saw clips of Drew Brees saying the exact same thing. I know a lot of Dolphins Twitter wants to remind everybody that Drew Brees said the same thing, but I saw the clip of him saying it. So,
I think you're 100%. Yeah, I think you're 100% right, because it's just like I said, I listen to these press conferences. I'm like, all right, obviously you want to know. And I think that he passed this press conference this week with flying colors. I was like, he's going to, he's joking about the turnovers. Then he's taking accountability. He's trying to pacify everything that's going on there. And then I was like, all right, he said that. But I'm like, surely that's all right. People know that he said that already. And I was wrong. People did not. And they wanted to run with that. And Bleacher Report can't wait for Tua to just say a thing that they can pounce on.
Yeah, but you know what, man? Like, go out there and perform. I hate to do that, but it's the truth. Mm-hmm. Like, you're very well paid. Very, very well paid. One of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league. And then you get up in front of a crowd after you get that contract and you yell, "Show me the money." People can't wait for you to fail when you do stuff like that. It's just the nature of the business. It's the nature of the beast. And when you're paid that much and you're a quarterback and you came from Alabama and you're a top 5 pick, this is the coverage that comes with you not being good. Sorry. And it's not just that his team sucks. He sucks right now.
And he's always been a guy that garners reaction anyway. Like, right. even when they were decent, people debated whether or not he was good. And now it's just kind of like everybody's at the I'm right trough.
Right.
They love it. They can't get enough of him saying things that they can make fun of and mock. He's in that zone now. And I'm not saying, like, yeah, this is what comes with when you have triple turnover games after triple turnover game. Like, if you keep giving the football away, this is what's going to happen. But he's been so bad. And I think that's the thing, is, as a guy who, my radio show, I name him after hour out of him. People got so mad we were forced to suspend it. You
guys jumped ship on that real quick, huh?
I had a mutiny. What am I supposed to do as a coach? You got to listen to your locker room. And I had my cohorts were pissed. Leroy, J-Fig, Frog Boy, everybody wanted him. They wanted our Tua done. The listeners wanted what they wanted. So I put it on suspension, indefinite leave. And then he goes and he keeps losing. And I'm like, he has no chance to get to appeal. It's tough. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to anger the audience. Like, I tried to get cute one year with a sad hour Tua open. The people don't want it anymore. And so they're like, stop doing it. And I'm upset. I'm upset.
You're right, though, man. Bunch of gluttonous pigs at the I'm right trough. Oh, yeah. All in the aren't they oversatiated already? Haven't you told us you're right enough about Tua Tagovailoa? I mean, every time I turn it on, it's people talking about, see, his arm strength, his body, his concussions. We told you this was bound to happen. Like, all right, you gluttonous pigs, we got it. We got it, bro.
We're being punished enough. And I think the thing that's the most painful about it is, it already happened last year when the whole contract thing happens, and then he misses, a third of the season. Like, a disaster had already struck, but genuinely, he is playing the worst football of his career. And I don't really have, I understand. Tua, people have said, he's not that good. He's not a French quarterback. But he has been, in the famous words of Richie Incognito, he's been ass. And I don't know I don't know what the hell's happened to the guy. Like, I don't know if it's like Kurt Warner says, if it's confidence. I don't know if the physical toll of all this stuff is just catching up with him. I don't know if this is just not having Tyreek Hill, if your line has gotten worse. Like, but it's an awful thing right now. It's an awful thing, and it does feel like the time is very much ticking on him as being the guy and the coach as well. And everybody here really feels like they're on borrowed time. That's what it feels like right now. To make matters worse, the Dolphins lost one of their best targets going into this game, and really are losing weapons even more so going into a game against a very good pass defense. We'll get into that coming up here on Game Day Uncensored after this.
I'm Davion Mitchell of the Miami Heat. Congratulations to WQAM on its move to FM at 104.
good running back in Bijan Robinson. The Dolphins defense needs to play with all cylinders blazing. Our cylinders are already blazing. This is Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans with Tobin and Solana, Omar Kelly, and Chris Perkins on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Game Day Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get offers on select models now through September 2nd. Learn more at Lexus.com. By Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Shop over 22 acres of Cadillacs built for luxury and performance at Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Start your game-winning drive today at Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. EdmoreSawgrassCadillac.com. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
And welcome back in, everybody. It's hour 2 here of Game Day Uncensored. Brendan Tobin here alongside Alejandro Solana. We got Frog Boy here with us producing. Great to have you, buddy, here on a Sunday morning as the Dolphins are getting set for the Atlanta Falcons. Marcos was telling me during the break. Solana, do you want to tell your conundrum?
Okay. I'm a bit conflicted today, Solana. As you know, seeing as you're the commissioner of this fantasy league, your boy's in first place.
Mm-hmm.
And
what's your record against me, by the way? Just throwing that out there.
What
is the 72 Dolphins?
What are we talking about here? But as the owner of the Bed Bath and Bijan team, I am hoping that our boy Bijan Robinson continues the trend of running backs against the Dolphins this season.
Oh, for sure. I'm Marco. There's no confliction there. I mean, we should all be putting money on Bijan Robinson to go over on whatever Hard Rock has their algorithms have cooked up today, because it's inevitable. Doesn't it just seem inevitable today?
Yeah, unless the mobsters who are around the NBA scandal get a hold of Bijan Robinson, I think you're good. I think you're good. By the way, I am so furious with this Adam Silver. I cannot tell you. I mean, he owes us. This kid, give me back my pick. You know what you did. Every time I hear him speak, I just know scandal happened. I know it in my bones. Never been so happy for Congress to waste our time with sports. Like, you get him on Congress.
Yeah. The graphic Yahoo made it is I want that printed out. Whatever they stole from the Louvre, just replace it with the graphic of an Adam Silver picture and just in big bold letters. Congress.
Unbelievable. Anyway, I'm still gonna fire up the app. We got Porpoise Props coming up later today.
Yeah.
So, speaking of betting, I'm very sad because my favorite play is not playing today. And that is, of course, the anytime Julian Hill touchdown. Julian Hill dealing with an ankle injury, not going to be out there. We knew going into the week, Solana, no Darren Waller. He is going on IR. Says he'll be back. What for? I don't really know. I mean, I guess just the love of the game if he is going to come back for the Miami Dolphins. But Darren Waller placed on injured reserve. So the Dolphins are going with Greg Dulcich. I think Hayden Rucci got called up off the practice squad. These tight ends, dude.
They brought back this week on the practice squad. I doubt he'll be elevated for today. I definitely won't be. Was Chris Miarek. Do you remember him, Tobin? Do you remember why that name might sound familiar?
I remember him from preseason. I don't recall, what was he famous for?
Do you remember the Reed send it to win it Hail Mary in Cincinnati, final playoff game of 2021, and Reed Sinnett throws a 50-yard bomb on the final play, and who comes down with it in the end zone? The Sinnett Hail Mary, greatest preseason play in Dolphins history, Chris Miarek.
Wow.
Miarek, however you pronounce it.
Yeah,
whatever.
By the way, you guys are asleep on my boy, but Reed Sinnett broke the single season passing yards record in the European League of Football last year.
Did he really?
What?
How about that?
Name.
European football. There's a European football league again. I thought they did away with that.
No, the European League of Football. It's all the rage in London right now, bruv.
Crazy, dude. This was Tua on losing Darren Waller. Here's what Tua had to say on that.
It's the NFL, right? You have things that randomly happen that come up. Unfortunately, for Reek, that's what he got to deal with. And then for Waller, that's what he got to deal with as well. Next man up mentality for our guys gives them an opportunity to showcase their skills, their talents, things that we can do to use them in the pass game, in the run game, in play action game. So it's just opportunities galore for a lot of guys, that get a chance to play.
Is it? Who is that going to? Because I would we didn't get the ball to Waddle last week. I get it. Defenses are probably trying to take him out. Tua's a little gun shy right now. Like, who do they look to? Because, honestly, Solana, Darren Waller and Devon Achane were far and away the two most impactful guys on the defense. Waddle obviously still has got some juice in him, but I mean, is it going to be Taj Washington, Malik Washington, D. Eskridge? I don't know what he's talking about. I mean, this Nick Westbrook-Akine, has been a ghost. He's been another just brilliant signing of the offseason. I know he gets to block out there and whatnot, but he hasn't done. He was a red zone target for a terrible Titans team last year. Hasn't done anything for the Dolphins.
Can we just put it this way? I mean, we're talking about Julian Hill, your sweet, sweet Julian Hill, Tobin. This love affair that unfortunately has still gotten you zero payouts on the Hard Rock Bet app. We're talking about him hey, Julian Hill, target for Tua after a 3-reception, 31-yard game. That's all it takes on this Dolphins team. You get 3 receptions for 30 yards, and we're talking about you oh, okay, we found another weapon. That's what it takes. And, Malik Washington led the team in receptions. He had 30-something yards the other day. He put up numbers that made Jarvis Landry even say, wow, run down the field, young man. Let's go.
Well, he did get that one hospital ball thrown to him where Tua threw it to him and he got spine busted right in the back. I didn't think he was get up after that one.
Once you're down 20 plus points, you've thrown 3 picks. That's when you start throwing hospital balls. Huh? Start putting your guys in positions to make plays. I don't know, Tobin. To answer your question, I don't know who you can rely on to make plays. I don't think you can rely on anybody to make plays other than Devon Achane at this point. You're just hoping that Mike McDaniel, again, comes into this week and has cooked up some unbelievable game plan to get guys like Malik Washington, who are talented, into open space. But again, these are just, it's wishful thinking at this point. If he hasn't done it to this point, there's no reason to believe he will.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Do they use HN even more in the receiving role than he already has been? Do they have him go out for some deeper stuff and then have either Ollie or Jalen Wright? Because they've been saying they're going to get Jalen Wright involved a little bit more. Did they do something in that regard? I don't really know. I think this just feels like the load would go even more so in the direction of production for HN and Waddle. But if I had to guess, I'm feeling like this means more for Malik Washington. If I had to guess, because I don't feel like we've had quite the breakout game that we have, especially with the early special teams plays that he's made. But I don't know, man. I just feel like this is they're just running out of weapons. When you lose Tyreek Hill already this season, and now you've lost Darren Waller, who, by the way, I didn't think was going to be good. That's been the lone probably off-season win for Miami. And he was an awesome red zone target for Tua, still has been. And now that he's gone, what do you do? And already a bad situation seems like it gets worse.
Yeah, you throw it to Greg Dulce de Leche, and you hope that he comes down with the catch. Tobin, when you say Malik Washington hasn't nearly had that breakout game we thought, his best performance was in Cleveland, 5 receptions on 8 targets, one of those being the hospital ball, and 30 yards. Yep. And by the way, 1 reception was for 14 yards. So that means 4 receptions for 16 yards is what he had.
I still think if they featured him more, Solana, I do think the talent is there for him.
For sure.
They got to get him in the right spots, because we've seen him look, he flipped a game with a punt return this year. It's just that the special teams came back and said, hey, here's a kickoff return.
No, Tobin, when Tyreek Hill went down, remember I predicted 2 games in a row, my game ball would go to Malik Washington, because in my mind, it just seemed like the correct way to try to replace Tyreek Hill. Not that Malik Washington is Tyreek Hill. I realize that's unrealistic, but he possesses similar qualities in the sense that he can play in the slot. He can beat you deep. He has good hands. He can play at many different levels of the field. And Mike McDaniel has shown that he likes to, run the end around for Malik Washington. He'll put him in motion. He'll bring him and hand the ball off to him. Like, there's just so many different ways that you can feature him in the offense. I thought, wow, Mike McDaniel, okay, he loses Cheetah, he's going to be sad for sure. But when he's writing his plays and he's scheming up how he's going to move the ball, he's going to feature Malik Washington more. It just seemed like the obvious next guy to go to, and he hasn't done it at all. At all.
This stuff. Froggy, you got anybody? Can we lean on?
Yeah, I think
more Ingold.
I think we need more Riley Patterson, dude. I think he is really. Remember when the biggest thing we were like, "Oh, Jason Sanders out. Oh, that's totally gonna affect us." Nah. Really, there's no one you can lean on. Is if Durham Smythe is available, I'd bring him back somehow. But other than the lack of attempts I feel Ollie Gordon gets that are like, sure, we'll give him like a 1 yarder. We need a big yard. We'll give him that. I say just start feeding him the ball, dude. That's the only bright side I can see is what is the future of this team? And we know Devon Achane is a star, a stud for sure. Is Ollie Gordon that guy that we want him to be? We see Malik Washington isn't necessarily panning out the way we want him to be. Can Ollie Gordon do it?
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like I don't even know how, but that's when you have a running back playing as well as Achane, like I don't even, that's why I'm saying like maybe they could do a thing where we're seeing more of both of them on the field at the same time.
Yeah,
but
that's what I do in Madden.
What do you even like? Why would you even bother? Like if you can get Achane the ball, you give Achane the ball.
Well, why would you bother? Because your next best option is Taj Washington out there, and I mean, I like him in preseason, but clearly hasn't played much this season for a reason. Tobin, I think Marcos does have a point. We saw some bright spots from Ollie Gordon, and I think you've gotten to the point of the season. You said it, right? This team's cooked. This team has never been more over. I want to find out what you've got. I want to know what we've got. I know Jonas Savaiinaya right now, as of right now, can't play left guard. Just he can't. I want to know if he can play right guard. I want to know if he's better at right guard. Why not move him there? What do you have to lose? I want to know if Ollie Gordon can be relied upon in the case that Devon Achane might have to miss a game to be a featured running back. I'm not saying bench Devon Achane, but why not feature Ollie Gordon a little bit more? That's what I want to know, right? Like, what do we have in some of these guys so that when you start building for the future, you have a good baseline of like, okay, this guy can do this guy can do that. The problem is the head coach who's still here has no interest in figuring out for the next regime or the future. That's where this bleep gets messy, man.
I get so annoyed with the shots of him on the sideline looking at that dumbass play sheet. He doesn't know what he's doing.
What happened to Jalen Wright?
Yeah, good question.
Healthy scratch since returning, and it's like imagine a 3-headed backfield. I think back to, and I don't think it's going to align the same, but the last like 3-headed monster I can remember was like Vic Dunn and like Duckett, I think was his name, or Chris Johnson, Derrick Henry. It was Lendell White. Have the ability to have potentially at fullback, we have Ollie Gordon, Devon Achane, and in the slot, Jalen Wright. Crazy motions. Do something, dude.
Nah, man. Nah. We got to throw dig routes to Alec Ingold. More dig routes to Alec Ingold, please.
Alec Ingold is just like they've used him more going deep than they have in short yardage. It's pretty crazy. It's like, what are they doing here, man? Chris Perkins, South Florida Sun Sentinel, Miami Dolphins columnist. He's going to join us on Gameday Uncensored coming up after this.
I'm Bam Adebayo of the Miami Heat. Congratulations to WQAM on his move to FM.
Time now for more Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored, brought to you by the Lexus TX. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. And it's that time of the program, Solana, where we go and link up with our guy, Chris Perkins from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel. Perk, how you doing this morning?
Gentlemen, I am running a little bit late, so I'm still walking into the stadium. But other than that, I'm good, man.
Look, you know what you're walking into, Perk. You're walking into the Bijan Robinson show there today.
Yeah. I don't know how they're going to stop him. I don't know how the Dolphins are going to score, quite honestly. Without Tyreek Hill or Darren Waller. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Bijan is. He's probably going to run for over 100 yards. It's just how many yards he gets today.
Probably, Perk, or for sure, because I don't know exactly what the what the line is set at right now. But is there any scenario in your mind where the Dolphins can stop him and force Kirk Cousins to beat them? Any scenario in your mind, or is this just a foregone conclusion?
Yeah, you know what? They can stop Bijan because all it takes. What it takes is playing some disciplined football. Now, look, I'm not saying they can hold Bijan to 50 yards or anything like that, but they can hold him under 100 yards. If you hear about having trust that the guy next to you is going to do his job. And that's a big problem with the Dolphins. Zach Steeler and Anthony Weaver talked about this this week, and so did Austin Clark, the defensive line coach. He's learning how to play next to these rookies, right? So Jordan Phillips and Kenneth Grant, he does not trust them. That's the basic issue. So Zach feels like he has to do his job and Kenneth Grant's job, or his job and Jordan Phillips' job. And that's where you kind of get these, breakdowns in integrity, and you hear, misfits that you don't fit your gap correctly, and that's because you don't trust the guy next to you. So if everybody does their job, yes, you can hold Bijan to under 100 yards, but we haven't seen that all season. Through 7 games, everybody does not do their job, and that's where the problems come in.
Do you feel like it's beneficial to the Dolphins going up against Kirk Cousins today? Like, not the most mobile dude, obviously, after all the injuries and age that he's got. Do you feel like that could set up better for these pass rushers who really haven't had a game where they've feasted yet?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not sure that it's so much the quarterback, Tobin. I think it's the pass rushers. And, again, we're talking about trust and being able to do your job, because I don't think that it's necessarily been a mobile quarterback that beat him, or an agile quarterback that beat him, or a quarterback with a big arm that beat him. It's really been the entire pass game and the lack of a pass rush. They've gone up against a couple of good receivers, but it's really been the Dolphins and their inability to execute is what's gotten them in the most trouble on defense. Again, I way overrated that front seven. I thought they were going to be good, and they had a lot of vets. I wasn't looking at Kenneth Grant, the first-round pick. I was looking at Zach Steeler and Benito Jones and Chubb and Phillips and Chop and Judon and Jordan Brooks and Terrell Dotson. And those were the guys that I expected to be doing things, and really none of them have done anything of consequence.
It's funny, Perk, because we're focusing so much on the Dolphins' defensive side, the Falcons and Bijan Robinson, for good reason, obviously. But it seems like we're, perhaps not paying enough attention to the fact that the Falcons have the best defense in the NFL, or one of the best defenses in the NFL. Nobody's allowed less passing yards. Nobody has allowed less passing yards per game. And they're second in yards allowed per game as well. Like, this defense is good, especially going up against opposing quarterbacks this season. Are we expecting Tua to have a bounce back game? Is it as simple as, hey, he's in a dome, like he's had a good week? It's, for the most part, it's been a not controversial Tua at the podium week for the most part, Perk. Like what are you expecting? How does he bounce back today? I know he has the illness that was reported earlier. How does Tua bounce back in a game like this?
Really, he's got to be able to trust his receivers, and that's not going to be easy because, again, you have no Darren Waller, you have no Tyreek Hill. Devon Achane is the guy that he trusts most, and Achane is having an absolutely fantastic season, both as a runner and as a receiver. But once you get past that, there's not a whole lot for Tua to trust. And so I think that leads to him forcing things and making ill-advised passes and ill-advised decisions. So somehow he's got to gain some trust in his receivers. And that's not going to be easy. And really for the whole Dolphins offense, they've got to find something that they can rely on aside from Devon Achane. And that thing is previously I say that thing, that person, that element had been Darren Waller, but he's not going to be there today. So, I picked this score to be 28-17, but I'm not sure how the Dolphins are going to score 2 touchdowns. Special teams and defense are going to have to put them in good field position and kind of set up this offense, because we have not seen anything spectacular from this offense all season long, and I don't expect we're going to see it today. Having said that, if they feed Achane, I think good things will happen.
Do you feel like we're going into a game where Tua's got the shortest leash that he's had since Mike McDaniel's been the coach? Like, I don't know what to make of the comments or what their relationship is right now, but losing it makes things frostier. It just does. Do you feel like if Tua has another tough start with turnovers that Mike will have the quick hook on him, or is he going to let him sink all the way?
Man, he probably lets him sink all the way, Tobin, because look, the step down when you go from Tua to Quinn Ewers or from Tua to Zach Wilson is a pretty dramatic step down. You're really hoping for a small miracle at that point, and that's not trying to take anything away from those 2 quarterbacks. That's just trying to say how much better Tua is or has been than either one of those 2 guys. So when Mike McDaniel talks about the short leash at pretty much every position on the field, you look at who he'd be going to. We knew coming into the season that the reserves, they were possibly the worst in the Mike McDaniel era at pretty much every position, especially at offensive line. But if you talk about replacing somebody, whether it's, Jordan Brooks or Zach Sealer or Tua, like, look at who you're going to. And that kind of tempers the threat or the promise from Mike McDaniel that, we're going to scrutinize, we're going to make some changes in the lineup. It's like, you're really punishing yourself at that point more than you're punishing the player if you're Mike McDaniel. So I'm sure that Mike McDaniel's patience with Tua has worn thin, but actually replacing Tua, that would be a major, major step.
Especially, Perk, if you're on the short week here, would you, how surprised would you be if they did, if today didn't go the way that you anticipate, right? If Tua Tagovailoa has another kind of just bad game, he's throwing interceptions, the idea that they're going to trot out Quinn Ewers on short rest going into a Thursday night football game, if he were to play today, like, I don't know, it just seems folly to me, right? It seems like it's not likely outside of an injury to Tua.
It does seem unlikely, Solano, but here's what you have to consider from the fan standpoint of the guys in the locker room and the fans. It's, where's the credibility going to be? And if you're putting players out there who don't give you a chance to win, players know that in the locker room that, hey, this guy can't play and we continue to play him. And fans know that also, right? This guy can't continue to play and we continue to play him. And so where's the credibility going to hurt you the most? And at what point do you say that this is, nobody believes that what we're saying when we talk about replacing players. So, at a certain point, after you raise the issue of we're going to look to replace players, somebody's got to lose their job if you keep losing, right? Or else you're just talking crap. And so that's what I mean with the credibility, that at some point players and or fans are going to look at you and go, you were just talking crap. This guy gives us no chance to win. You said you were going to replace him, and now you're not replacing him. So, if they don't turn in a good performance today, I would expect, even given the short week, somebody's got to lose their starting job or their job as a main rotational player.
Yeah, Solana brought up earlier in the show the idea with Jonas Savaiinaea. Man, he's had a tough rookie season. I don't know if the way the NFL is set up with practice days is it possible they could switch his position if they don't bench him, like put him somewhere that's more comfortable for him? to try and get some kind of juice out of this rookie year, or is it just not set up to do something like that?
Yeah, Perk, just really quickly, Perk, my notion was, hey, at this point, season's cooked anyways. Let's figure out what we have in these guys. And I realize it's a balance because Mike McDaniel's not trying to figure out anything for the next regime. I get that. But they keep saying, well, we're putting the best guys out there. Clearly, Savat Inaya is not the best guy to play left guard. We know he's a right guard. Let's see if he's got any better play out of him playing right guard, if he looks more comfortable. Just that simple.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. What they said is that they put Jonah at left guard for the future, not just for this season, not just because they had James Daniels at right guard, that's where they think that he is best suited to play. I know what you're saying, Solana, that this has been a disaster, but in the big picture, it's only been 7 games. And so I think that their thinking is, let's see what we've got over a full season, that there's going to be some ups and downs. And at this point, I think that you expect there's going to be more downs, but they made this commitment. And so I think they want to make it as close to a 17-game commitment as they can. So I don't think that, look, the big question, or one of the big questions with Savai Naya coming into the season was, do you keep him at right guard where he had been through college mostly, and do you pair him with the veteran Austin Jackson, with the veteran right tackle, or do you put him on the left side and put him with the youngster Patrick Paul, the young left tackle, and let those two have their growing pains together? And that's what they decided to do. So, with Jonah, I think they are going to kind of let it ride out. Again, you don't have many options as far as a backup, reasonable options. And number 2, they want to make this commitment. But I feel you. I hear what you're saying, Solana, because clearly this is not working. Why not try something else? But the Dolphins thing is that we're going to make like a 17-game commitment or more. So we're just going to kind of ride this out. So that's what I expect is going to happen. Jonah stays there all season as the starter.
But before we get you out of here, Chop Robinson, Anthony Weaver had some comments this week about his inconsistency. What have you made of his second season, and what do they need to get him back on track?
Chop, you guys remember that Chop made an adjustment last season. He started lining up wider, and that gave him a better option of going inside or outside. Well, apparently what's happened this year is the league has adjusted to his adjustment, so now Chop's got to adjust to the league's adjustment. And so that's where we've seen the kind of the drop-off or the disconnect with Chop Robinson. And, one of the other big things with Chop was that there was criticism coming into the season. He's not able to set the edge. He has not been able to set the edge. And so now he's got nothing that he can rely on. He can't set the edge against the run. He can't get the quarterback down on the ground for sacks. So I think his head is kind of spinning right now. Chop has to figure out, what can I do to be effective, either against the pass or the run. Just one thing that I can do, and then I can kind of build on that. But I think right now his head is spinning. He doesn't know how to stop the pass or the run after being so effective the second half of the season. So I think that's the big thing with Chop. Figure out one thing that's going to work, one adjustment that you can make, and then kind of build from there.
It's Chris Perkins. Go follow his work in the Sun Sentinel. Always appreciate the time, Perk. Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll talk next week.
There you go. Always appreciate Perk giving us some time. We'll take a break here on Game Day Uncensored and get to more on the other side.
I'm AJ Greer of the Florida Panthers. Congratulations to WQAM on its move to the FM dial.
Stay Uncensored. The pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. It is Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM, getting you ready for Week 8 of the NFL season. Dolphins and Falcons from, what is it, Mercedes-Benz? Is that what they call that place up there?
Yeah, Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Been to Atlanta a couple times. Great aquarium. Love the Georgia aquarium.
Amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
Incredible aquarium. Whale sharks.
Whale sharks. Yeah, dude.
Yep.
Whale sharks, man.
Love
Hell
a
yeah.
whale shark, dude. Love a whale shark. Actually, when I went last to Atlanta, all of the water was shut down. I was like, how does the aquarium keep going in a water shut down? Pretty crazy. They live, though, I think.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
They were swimming when I was there.
Okay.
I guess the salt water. They don't need the regular water. That's how they're rocking.
Well, what did you do? Like, how do you shower? What'd you do?
They just they gave us bottles of water. And then I think whatever filter system they had at the hotel, they had enough for showers, but the city was like shut down. You know, hotels can usually have backup systems on stuff like that.
What the hell's going on over there, man?
But we only stayed there a night, thankfully. Then we headed off to the mountains up there. But it was something. Whale sharks, though, dude. Always a fun time. We got some Heat basketball up later tonight. Heat and Knicks. You'll be able to hear that on FM 104.3 WQM. When do we get going there, Salon? Is that 4:45 today?
No, today will be 5 p.m. because we're going to give Dan Day a full hour on Game Day Uncensored. So
5 p.m.
Yeah, Dolphins game is going to end at around, 4-ish. So Dan gets started at like 3:45-ish towards the end of the fourth quarter. We'll give him a full hour. He'll go to 5, and then you and I will jump on from the Kaseya Center tonight.
I am excited. I love Heat Knicks. I listened yesterday to Tommy Togg. He had Tim Hardaway on. I could listen to Tim Hardaway literally speak as long as he's willing to speak.
Goosies.
And excited for this one. Obviously, Knicks have started 2-0. Heat 1-1. They beat the holy hell out of the Memphis Grizzlies, if you didn't see it on Friday night. And by the way, shout out to Sergei Bobrovsky yesterday. 50th career shutout.
Yep.
As the Cats get the win over the Golden Knights yesterday.
I know you're not the biggest soccer fan. I know you're not the biggest soccer fan, Tobin, but Inter Miami got the job done as well. The Canes won yesterday. Every South Florida team so far has delivered this week. Surely the Miami Dolphins will not let us down.
Messi score?
2 goals. You got a brace.
He's good.
Game 1 down.
He's good.
Got lucky.
What? Let us get to a little segment we like to call Echolocation.
It's time for echolocation.
That is how dolphins communicate.
It's okay to be called out as long as you change your behavior.
What's 1,000 yards if it's not like a winning season?
They talk, we do.
Echolocation.
Send it in.
All right, this is a segment where we like to hear some sounds from the Dolphins this week, where maybe they're not deserving of their own segment, but together they are strong. And as you heard there in the big open, Kevin Harlan, of course, on the call. Let's not embarrass ourselves in front of Kevin Harlan today, all right? We're already not worthy. It's great that the Falcons have allowed us to borrow Kevin Harlan for a game. I heard him the other day on the Amazon call. He was doing the game with D. Wade.
It was excellent.
Wade and Candace Parker were doing the game.
It was excellent, and UD is all over Amazon Prime. I mean, he's like the main figure there, main basketball analyst. It's excellent. For some reason, though, Tobin, from he's got Hill to he's got Dulcich, just doesn't hit the same. It
does not. Maybe Achan will be the guy who gets the goosies flowing for Kevin Harlan today. This was Devon Achan earlier in the week. Says he feels like whenever he gets the football, he can always change the game.
I can make a lot, man. Like you said, anytime I feel like when I get the ball, I can, change the game. So, like I said, I just gotta, make the most of it. And when I do get the ball, make sure that we stand ahead of the sticks.
There you go, Devon Achan, the lone shining light in what has been a truly awful season.
Yeah,
we're not worthy of him. Really, it's
we've got some good punts though. Some good punting. We got some good punting.
Punting.
Pretty good.
Oh, you mean from the punter?
Yeah, yes.
I got you. Sure. I got you. Yeah. Yesterday, I got some good punt returns from Malachi Tony and the Canes. That was good.
Needed that.
That was good. Jalen Waddle. He found out this week Tua not tall enough to see him. So this is what Jalen Waddle has.
Just practicing, bro. Going out there, making the most of our opportunities. Just getting our bank reps in to go out there and play fast on Sunday.
Do you think when Jalen Waddle hears that Tua is not tall enough to see him, do you think he goes to him and he's like, "That's what you used this week, the tall card"?
It's crazy, man. Just why? Why is Jalen Waddle being asked about that?
It is what it is right now, man. I hope that he can have a better game. Hard to have one where he was ignored more than last week. So hopefully he can get going. The Dolphins certainly need Jalen Waddle to be productive if they're going to have any shot against the Atlanta Falcons, one would think. You guys familiar with the defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons? His name is Jeff Ulbrich. You remember who that is, Solana?
Yes. Very familiar.
His son was a prankster. His son was the guy who pranked Shedeur Sanders during the NFL draft this year. And then Ulbrich got fined. He had to apologize. But that being said, his defense is cooking. His defense is cooking for the Atlanta Falcons. They got the number 2. They're number 2 in yards per game. I think they're number 1 in pass defense this season. And so and he says, like, anybody who thinks Tua's fallen off, not in his eyes, still a huge challenge.
I still see the same guy that I've been fearful of the last 4 years. He's maybe one of the best rhythm throwers in the NFL still to date. It's coaching as well. His synchronized feet with the routes and the concept is it's elite. When the back foot hits, the ball's coming out. And when you get the ball out like that to players, as we've already mentioned, with the speed that they have, that can be explosive, that can be scary. So again, like I've said, we gotta have our best week of prep.
All right, there you go. He still believes that Tua's got those. The thing that's interesting, man, is how much everybody's been able to mess up that rhythm for him this year. He's not been a guy who gets finds that first read and gets the ball out quickly this year. Like they've just felt like they've been able to throw enough wrinkles at him where it hasn't been as crisp this year for Tua.
Has it been interesting, Tobin, or is it just the perfect disaster of your offensive line is cheeks and you lost Tyreek Hill?
Some cheeks are really nice. I think it's an insult to cheeks to call them cheeks.
I mean, you have Tyreek Hill, the best decoy in the NFL, also one of the best weapons in the NFL, and he's not on the field. So now, okay, take Waddle away. You know he likes to throw within the hash marks, 10 to 19 yards down the field. Get to him before he can go to his second read, and all his rhythm is out of sync. Like it's interrupted. And look, I'm not a defensive coordinator, but Xavier Howard told us this going into the first game. Like literally, Xavier Howard said this going into the first game and
said this and retired. He was just like, "I'm here to ruin your guys' confidence, and I'll see you later. I'm done with the NFL."
And it led to one of the worst Tua games ever, and then retired. And now, since then, every single defensive coordinator seems to be doing the same thing. Like, I mean, I know
Xavier Howard wasn't as good anymore. Obviously, he had lost a step. But like when you see how good your team is on the Colts, so you think he's like, did he miss it that much, or did he didn't care? He just wanted to come back and beat the Dolphins.
I like the idea of him. I like the idea of him just saying, "I got one in me.
Yep,
I got one in me. One more in me, dog. That's it. Hey, Steichen, I got one more in me, dog. And I'm bringing my fishing rod. I'm bringing my reel. I'm bringing my line. I'm casting it out. I want the fish. That's what I want. I want the Dolphins' ass." But he gave it. He got it.
Finally, here in echolocation, Mike McDaniel. He got a weekly tradition, which is, "Hey, Mike, what's Stephen Ross have to say about that Browns loss, dude?"
As far as talking to Mr. Ross, talked to him right after the game, and we talk about the game. And it was, there was a lot to talk about within that particular game, that outing. Definitely didn't see it playing out that way. So, we talked about that, and then then I came here off the plane. So, that's I can't speak on all of the, all of the speculative things that aren't real. as far as we're operating. We have a lot of things to focus on, and none of which is speculating on speculation.
All right, there you go. Here's the thing: like, he's definitely not getting fired this week because they got a Thursday night game. So he's basically got a. He may get the whole season because, again, if you lose to the Browns and you don't get fired, I don't know when you get fired, but they got this game and then they got Thursday Night Football, which, by the way, Lamar Jackson is not playing this week for the Ravens. He reportedly plans to play Thursday night against the Dolphins.
Save him against the Dolphins.
Yep. That's what we got. That's what we got right now.
By the way, Tobin, somebody who was in Cleveland that I spoke to says the meeting between Stephen Ross and Mike McDaniel, or at the very least, let me rephrase that. Stephen Ross was inside that coach's locker room for a lot longer than he normally is. Now, I don't know how long those meetings normally go, but let's just say I heard there might have been a situation where, the flight leaving out of Cleveland was a little bit longer than it normally would have been. They had to wait a little bit longer. If they're in that conversation or they're talking about the game, like, I can't imagine Stephen Ross is asking McDaniel specifics about what went wrong on this play and what went wrong on this play. I mean, they've got to be talking big picture stuff, right?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I think you're just, when you lose that badly to the Browns, I think you're being like, hey, was the Tua stuff too much this week? Was the distractions too much this week? Like, how did you guys look this unprepared? Because that's what Zong keeps coming out with after every game, just like, unprepared. I'm just like, Zonk is just furious and he's done with Mike McDaniel at this point. I think Barry Jackson tweeted out that Kim Bokamper said on CBS that that was not only the worst quarterback game that he's ever seen, but he also said Stephen Ross and Garfinkel looked pretty upset after the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kim Bokamper, maybe the worst game I've ever seen by a quarterback not playing for the Dolphins in the National Football League.
He might be right. It was really bad. It was really, really bad. The turnovers are awful. And then just no desire. Like, the only time he ever threw the ball down the field was that one play to Tanner Connor where nobody was around Tanner Connor and they forgot. I was like, oh, is he a player? I thought he was a mascot. And then he tried going to Tanner Connor again. And of course it got picked off. I think that was the play that they had the Browns mic'd up.
Right.
And the guy was just like, give it to me, Tua.
Give it to me, Tua.
Give it to me, Tua. Yeah. And of course, Tua's like, I'll oblige. Here you go. Of course, I'll give you the football. We'll take a break. Speaking of the Dolphins and the fallout, Tyreek Hill, he made an appearance this week on Teron Armstead's podcast, kind of gave his thoughts on the Dolphins and their lay of the land on everything, his injury, his future. And so we'll get into some of that and where the Dolphins stand with this backup quarterback battle. Gameday Uncensored rolls on after this.
I'm Tyler here of the Miami Heat. Congratulations to WQAM on its move to FM 104.3. Congratulations.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
It's another Game Day Uncensored.
Well, it wasn't as noisy this week in Miami Gardens as it was last week. But still, the Dolphins are once again heading into a game following a loss. The more things change, the more they stay the same. They're in Atlanta today to try to ground the Falcons. Lots of questions. Questions about whether the Dolphins players have checked out. Mike McDaniel says,
based upon the play of the team, it's very fair to worry about, which is why I think it was important for me to really take measure of the players in and out of the building to kind of get a better beat on that. I've spent a little more time or kind of changed my routine to, know for myself by being around them more and knowing exactly where they're at.
Tua was asked how to make sure the hole doesn't get any deeper.
It's kind of, in a way, similar, but not similar to, I would say, our 21 season, when we went 1-7 to start, and then we were able to turn it around and finish off, I believe, 9-8 or something like that. But there's always hope, and you just got to find ways to get the guys to stick together and continue to press forward.
The Dolphins are going to have to stop a potent Atlanta run game, led by Bijan Robinson. Tua and the offense will need to curtail the turnovers. Is a win out of reach? It's time to figure it out. This is Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans. Tobin, Solana, with Omar Kelly and Chris Perkins on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami sports leader.
Game Day Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get offers on select models now through September 2nd. Learn more at Lexus.com. By Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Shop over 22 acres of Cadillacs built for luxury and performance at Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Start your game-winning drive today at Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. EdmoreSawgrassCadillac.com. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
And welcome back in, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brendan Tobin here alongside Alejandro Solana as we get you ready for Week 8 of the NFL season. Dolphins and Falcons. Dan Day has taken over the board. You guys can hear Dan today. Post-game edition of Game Day Uncensored gets going at 4 o'clock. Dan Day, is that when you're on?
I might try to go on a little early today. I only got 1 hour, so got a lot to get out.
And you guys can get your rage out. And no other place takes your calls after these Dolphins losses.
Rage, man. Come on, man. It's my favorite team versus my most hated team, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, I understand, but I don't think you're going to get the results that you want. I don't think so. You could hate the Falcons all you want, but still.
Dan, here's what I've learned. Dan Day's the ultimate optimist. Doesn't matter what's going on. He's the ultimate optimist. And then fans start calling in and they start yelling at him. And then, that's when realist Dan Day kicks into gear.
Well, that's the genius move is you hit them with a little positivity and then you make them so mad on the other end, the calls are even better because they don't want to hear your happiness. They want to get out their rage.
Yep.
That's an art. That's an art.
No, it's easy business. Today, look, you're playing the number one pass defense in the league. Your pass offense hasn't been very good. You have a very bad run defense, and they have one of the best running backs in the game. It's an easy thing. We're going to shock the world.
Man, something. This week, Tyreek Hill broke his silence. He went on the Teron Armstead podcast. Did you see some of this, Solana, with old Cheetah making the appearance on Teron Armstead's podcast?
Yeah, some of it was sad a little bit. I mean, it's sad that his career has been upended a little bit here because of a really scary injury. But I don't know, man. Like, I don't like to take Cheetah at his word. Tyreek Hill says whatever the hell's on his mind. Period. End of story. He doesn't think about the repercussions of those words. He doesn't think about how to be perceived. He just says whatever comes to his mind in that very second. But it did seem genuine when he's talking about his future and whether or not, he knows he's going to keep playing. Some of it did seem genuine to me.
Yeah, I think that they get to this point when you get the surgery, I think there's a point where you're like, definitely we're ready for the road back. But like, I think the athletes also, when they got a long recovery, you do hit a little bit of a wall of like, do I want to do this? Especially like, I don't know if you saw like some of the quotes from Jason Tatum, when he was having his Achilles, and he was like, he was thinking about retiring at one point because he's like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. So I don't think it's like in stone that he's thinking about walking away. I think he might just be at that point in his rehab where he's like, man, do I really want to keep doing this? Am I still going to be the same guy?
Right. And you have to consider that if you're Tyreek Hill, because for the past 8 years, Tobin, he's not just an NFL football player, he's the best, one of the best. He's winning Super Bowl, a Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes, making big time plays in the Super Bowl. Then he's getting an absolute payday with the Dolphins. And the entire offense, at one point, the best offense in the NFL, one of the most electric, most fun offenses of the NFL, is all tailor-made because of his athleticism, his speed, what he does better than anybody else. Can he be that same guy? Does he want to be on a field if he's not the same guy? And he's not going to get the same contract. It's going to be an earn it contract. Show me you can still be Tyreek Hill contract. I mean, it's look, I think he comes back, but I didn't expect him to say that. He's like, oh, I'll be better than ever guy, like that's what I expected him to say. And he took a different route.
Yeah, I think that's where he's at right now. And I think if you're going to talk to somebody about it, like who better than Teron Armstead, who's been through, do I want to keep doing this more than anybody? He's had to do that like literally the last 3 years. Do I want to keep doing this? Do I want to put my body through it? So I'm sure there was something therapeutic about that with Tyreek Hill. He answered the Tua stuff. He did not seem, he didn't take any of the cheese on like, the Tua comments or Tua, a lot of positivity towards his quarterback still.
What he said, I thought, about Tua's comments towards him coming into the season were very interesting. Where, he was adamant, Tobin, that he thought Tua challenged him, and it was the right way to go about that situation, right? Like we can go back and think about what at the time was controversial. Tua saying that Tyreek still has work to do in order to repair the relationship, putting it in the context of what's been controversial once the season started. Like those comments were nothing at the start of the season, but hey, he had Tua's back. It would have been very easy to pile on Tua right now. He's away from the team. He's away from the locker room. Would have been very easy. And he was frustrated at the start of the season. Think back to that Colts game. He's throwing his helmet on the sideline. He's pissed. Tua's overthrowing him, throwing interceptions. Like he very easily, he could have lit the flame a little bit more if he really wanted to, but he stood by his guy.
Yeah, it was actually a good nod from Tyreek because like you think about, I think if you go back to that moment this offseason about Tua saying that the relationship needed to be mended some more with him and Tyreek, that was kind of the first inkling this year of like, hey, Tua, you're saying too much. Like I know that people probably, at the time you maybe appreciate it, but that's the time when you could probably just like douse the flames a little bit and just be like, you know what, let's just move on to the next thing and put it behind closed doors. Tua decided to put it out in the open. And, Tyreek handled all that stuff. He took it on the chin. And I'm not saying that Tyreek Hill hasn't been a pain in the ass because there's certainly been things, but, I think that for Tyreek to still come back and be like, you know what, like it made me better. Yeah, props to him on it. Because I think he could have definitely taken the bait there because he may very well never put on a Dolphins uniform and be teammates with Tua ever again.
Yeah, but you know what? Now that I've been able to reflect on that entire situation, Tobin, there's a lot of people claiming, and I'm not saying pundits, I'm talking about NFL guys. I work with one in Channing Crowder. You work with one in Leroy Horde, and we know, Joe Rose hasn't been holding back this year either, man. Like it's been crazy. They're questioning whether or not he can be a leader in the locker room now more than ever, based on his comments about players leaving meetings. And I look back on that situation, Tobin, and I think Tua was saying what he thought he was supposed to say. You know what I mean? Like he he was coming into this year.
With
There's
the Tyreek
these
thing.
with the Tyreek thing. He's coming into this season. There's a ton of questions about who's the leader going to be. I mean, how many segments did we do that, right? Mike McDaniel reveals information at the end of last season that guys aren't being held accountable and that guys are missing player-only meetings. Tyreek Hill quits on the sideline. You lose Calais Campbell. You lose Teron Armstead. You lose the de facto veteran leadership in the locker room. We're all talking about who's going to step up, who's the leader in that locker room. And I think Tua took it as an opportunity, those Tyreek Hill questions, to prove to people, hey, I'm the leader here. I'm the guy that everybody's going to respond to, but I truthfully don't know if he knew how to lead. I think he was saying what he thought was the right thing to say in that time, which was, yeah, Tyreek, we love him, but he's got a lot more work to do. Tyreek, we love him, but he's got to be around the guys more. He's got to prove, it's not just what he's saying. And I don't know if he genuinely said any of that stuff to Tyreek Hill. I don't know. But now knowing how he's responded to some of this other stuff, I mean, you can't say one thing about Tyreek Hill and then come out and you're just ripping your entire team when they're not showing up to player-only meetings. And Tua, why aren't they showing up to player-only meetings? I just don't know if he's got that like mother bleeper in the locker room, pay attention to me. I don't know if he gives off that aura to dudes.
Yeah, I think there's just been a little bit of, I think back to the early part of his career when everybody was piling on him and the coach didn't stick by him. And that was a guy who, did have a little bit of like a meekness to him at the time because he doesn't know if his career is going to continue. And I do think that you go through these swings one way or another. People have, labeled it salty Tua, spicy Tua, all these things, because we saw some of that with he's coming back at Ryan Clark and he's going to make fun of people because say he can't take the deep ball. And I do think that this is the first time he's had to do it with a lot of losing sided up with it. And I do think that you're right. There's probably an element of he wanted to make it seem like he's not going to tolerate what Tyreek Hill did, even though he wasn't playing in that game. But he also saw later in the summer, he was trying to walk some of that stuff back. He was trying to make it not as much of a thing. Cause I don't think that he's still at this age and this many years in. I don't think he really is aware of how much his words matter and what it does to the team. And
right.
He likes to plead this ignorance of hey, I don't pay attention to anything. I'm out of it. And I don't know. I think that maybe that's because of how much stuff was early on. Maybe this is how he's always been. But from my standpoint, I think that he's got to get a better handle of that, of knowing that, his words are going to get fed on no matter what. And it seemed like with the player meetings, maybe he got more of an awareness of it. He actually did the research on how many people are talking about this. And so maybe he will be better going forward. The damage may be done, but I do think that Tyreek Hill, took a bit of a high road there, which was nice to see because he certainly could have hosed Tua down and really not really had a lot of repercussions because he's always had Tua's back publicly.
He has. Sometimes he's taking it too far, where he's calling him the best quarterback in the league, most accurate quarterback in the league. That was the baseline of Tyreek and Tua's relationship. He came in and he's calling him the best quarterback he's ever played for, and it's Cheetah. He gets in front of the microphone, he says whatever he wants. But just to kind of go back to those comments, Tobin, I know he didn't touch on it, and he said all the right things this year. He wants to be a Dolphin, and he wants to continue being a Dolphin, and his agent reminds everybody he wants to continue being a Dolphin. But can you see realistically a scenario where, let's say, Cheetah wants to come back next season? It's a prove it to me deal. It's a prove it to me, hey, we got to make sure you're still capable of being the guy or a great receiver. But does that make sense for the Dolphins next year?
I could see it if McDaniel and Tua are back. I could see it because it's a familiarity. And I think that if you're not going to get paid the most money, you want to be in a comfortable place where you like living. So I could see that. You're obviously by your agent, you're by Drew. I think that there could be scenarios. If the Dolphins start clean, though, No, I don't think so. I think that it's over, which I think they're going to. I think that this is headed towards a place where McDaniel's not back, Tua's not back, Chris Greer's not back. Like they're gonna go and take this thing down to the studs.
Well, we
And
think
so that,
think they are. We think. I mean,
well, yeah. If you're running normally, you're right. If you're running normally, yes. But it's not out of the question that he could be back. But I think that that's only a case if like they really try and revamp everything that they have, which I don't think is the direction they're going to go.
It's got Cheetah back in Kansas City written all over it, does it not?
Sure. Yeah, for sure. Or some other place where he could be the final piece, maybe back in if Devontae Adams moves on, he goes pairs up with Puka Nakua or something like that. Like, yeah, he'll find some contender that he goes to.
Yeah.
We'll take a break here on Game Day Uncensored, get more into this matchup against the Atlanta Falcons and the defensive struggles for the Finns. Anthony Weaver with some thoughts on some of his key players we'll get into. Back with more on Game Day Uncensored after this.
I'm Norman Powell of the Miami Heat. Congratulations to WQA.
$2.99 a month. Click Edmore Sawgrass
WQAM.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day, Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brendan Tobin and Alejandro Solana here with you. Dan Day on the board. You guys will be able to hear him today. Game Day Uncensored post-game edition. Omar Kelly going to join us in about a little over 30 minutes or so. We'll talk to Omar, get his thoughts on Dolphins and Falcons. But first, get some keys to the game here. Brought to you by Edmore Sawgrass Automall. Shop exceptional Cadillac offers now at the 3-time Cadillac Dealer of the Year, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Visit EdmoreSawgrassCadillac.com. You're always backed by Morse. Dolphins, Falcons 3-3 on the season, coming off a 2010 loss to the 49ers last week. They've beaten the Bills, Commanders, and Vikings. Bijan Robinson is 6th in the NFL in rushing. He's got 524 yards, but 914 overall with 4 touchdowns. They got some weapons on the outside. Drake London, of course, Kyle Pitts. Maybe not what everybody thought that he was going to be when coming into the league, but the Dolphins certainly got their hands full. Defense has allowed the second fewest yards per game in the league. Top passing defense, and they are 8th in takeaways this season. They're +3 in the turnover margin. Tough matchup for the Dolphins, Solana. A lot of things in this one that they got to be worried about.
You just look at the Falcons, and I know Kirk Cousins is likely to play today, but they've got to be saying this is a dream matchup. Tobin, just think about it from this perspective, right?
I think everybody thinks that
5 of the 7 starting running backs that the Dolphins have faced this year, 5 of the 7 starting running backs have rushed for over 100 yards. And the only 2 that didn't, Jonathan Taylor, it was a blowout. He would have done it. Leading rusher right now in the NFL, or second leading rusher in the NFL. And Quinshad Junkins last week, who only had 84 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns, took one to the house. Game was over anyway.
Game was over, yeah. He didn't need to play the rest of the game.
Those are the only 2 that haven't. And arguably, they had the 2 best performances against the Dolphins. And now you're going up against the best rusher in the NFL, in Bijan Robinson, who leads the NFL in total yards per game.
If you had to tip the scales, because I think the answer is everything, because they're a bad team. But if you had to tip the scales, do you think this has been a bigger issue on the defensive side or the offensive side for the Dolphins this year?
Wow, that's a tough question.
I'm again saying this with the blanket of, all right, so before the chat loses its mind and everybody loses their mind, they're all bad. They're all bums. Even the special team sucks. All right, Riley Patterson's been respectable, although he needed 2 kicks to make 1 last week.
Man,
if you had to say what one's been worse, even if it's a 51-49, defense or offense?
Am I allowed to, in this scenario, am I allowed to say expectations played a part in my disappointment on either side? Because here's the thing. I knew the defense wasn't going to be good. I thought the front 7 would be good. I thought the front 7 would be able to, at the very least, help you mitigate disaster, right?
Feels like you're sitting on the fence here, Solana. Pick a side, dude.
But the offense to me has been more disappointing because the offense was supposed to be the side, okay, I can rely on them. They're going to put points up on the board. Tua Tagovailoa was supposed to be the guy who, at the very least, is going to move the ball. He's going to throw to Jalen Waddle. He's going to throw to Tyreek Hill. He's going to put points up on the board. And it's been awful. It's been the worst Tua season since Mike McDaniel's been here. So fine, I'll pick the offense. To me, the offense has been the more disappointing side because I knew the defense was a big question mark coming into the year. The offense was supposed to be the steady, focal part of the team with Mike McDaniel running the show and Tua Tagovailoa, $250 million paid man. They were supposed to produce. We were going to rely on it, and it's been the complete opposite.
No, I get you on the expectations part. I would say, though, here's the thing with the Dolphins. The offense has suffered a lot of big blows. I mean, like half of your offensive line, your number 1 wide receiver, now your tight end. I mean, there have been a lot of things that they've had to overcome there as well. This defense, I mean, the thing that's disappointing about them is, and why I slightly think it's them, they've never been able to really set the tone of a game. They basically let every team stay on the field as long as they want. And then when they do get stops, I mean, Solana, every single week with the penalties to make it worse. Every single week with a rough in the quarterback, with a rough in, with a defensive holding, with a pass interference. They're just so undisciplined. And the thing is, that side, there's a lot of veterans who are making mistakes too. Yes, the youth of Kenneth Grant, it was patently obvious, and Jordan Phillips, but I see a lot of veterans making mistakes too, man. It's been so embarrassing.
You had the Jack Jones defensive hold that arguably cost you a game. You had Zach Sealer running into a kicker, and then Zach Sealer roughing the passer. Like, those are supposed to be, I mean, Jack Jones not really, but still, like, he's been in the league a while. Those are supposed to be the guys that aren't making the brain dead mistakes. Zach Sealer's your captain. You're supposed to rely on him. It goes back to what we were saying in that first segment, Tobin, which is either side of the football. Here I am straddling the fence again. You can't rely on your best players.
Nope. Yeah, I think they're both bad. But if I had to slightly tip the scales, I still think I'd go defense, just because the reason I feel so hopeless today, Tua may go stink up the joint. He may go throw 3 picks. But the thing that I feel most hopeless today is I just don't feel like they can stop that Falcons team. And that's not even the Falcons calling. Like, the Falcons are better defensively than they probably are offensively. But I look at a talent like Robinson, and I'm like, well, how do they stop him? They can't. Whoever their quarterback is, they got a running back who's such a unicorn, and I've seen what backups have done to them. Now they're taking on an actual elite back for the first time since Jonathan Taylor. And like, geez, I just feel like I feel like it's for him. He's going to the buffet, chew on whoever you want to.
Not that, debating this gets us anywhere, but I'll tell you what, Tobin, the only reason you have a victory this season, your lone victory, was because of Jack Jones punching a ball out at the goal line. The defense won you that game.
That's fair.
The Dolphins offense barely scraped through and got you that game. The defense forced turnovers against the New York Jets. They put you in positions to go win. You think back to Carolina, and I know Tua throws a dime to Jalen Waddle, puts you in position, and the defense blew that game. But you were up 17-0 because you forced 2 turnovers. If you didn't force those two turnovers and put yourself in plus territory for Tua and the offense to go score, I mean, the Dolphins probably lose that game by 2 touchdowns. And by the way, against the Buffalo Bills, the only reason you were in that game was because after the first 3 drives by Buffalo, the defense got multiple stops for the first time this year. Like, there's been instances where they've shocked you and they've surprised you and they've put you in decent position.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously there's also been the blow the game to Carolina, blow the game to the Chargers. Last week they couldn't stop anybody. And the rushing numbers have just been so miserable that it's hard to look at any of the positives.
Oh yeah, that I completely agree with. It's I don't think there's really anybody you could write home with and be like, yeah, this has been amazing. One guy that's been a little bit disappointing, I think in his second year, we've talked about all the pass rush unit really, but Chop Robinson has not exactly gotten off to a flying start here in his second season. Anthony Weaver this week. This is what he had to say on Chop and his inconsistencies.
The one thing I think first and foremost, he needs to be confident regardless of down, right? He can't, and I don't necessarily know that it's a confidence issue for him. I think sometimes he wants to do right so bad that he puts himself in like vulnerable situations because he's trying so hard to make a play. So if he can just take the pre-snap information, use it, apply it, whether that's a back offset away, right, home back, all the things that we talk about all the time. If he can use that, I think that'll give him a head start, potentially on what he's going to see, and he'd have more chance to be advantageous on the play.
All right, there you go. Anthony Weaver this week on Chop Robinson. And, the Dolphins certainly need their first-round pick from last year to really get going. I mean, all that pass rush. And especially, Solana, like, if we're to believe the trade rumors that are out there, it seems like the most realistic guys to get dealt are either Chubb or Jalen Phillips.
Right.
And I think people are kind of salivating at the idea of getting those guys on an actual winner or a better team and seeing what they could do. But Chop Robinson, he is one of those guys probably going to be here for the long haul a little bit. And by that, I'm saying like 3-4 years at least through his contract. They need to get him right. And we just haven't seen that impact from really anybody on the edge, but certainly not from their first round pick last year.
It's probably the most concerning part, where I think coming into the year, Tobin, we're kind of talking about, hey, no matter what happens this year, okay, You've got Chop Robinson, who you drafted high last season. You've got Kenneth Grant, who we all felt was going to make an immediate impact this year. You have the rookie left guard or right guard or whatever offensive lineman that you drafted in the second round this year, you traded up for in the second round this year. You've got Patrick Paul, your left tackle. Like, you've got in the trenches, right? Defensive line and offensive line, you've got young, promising talent. And now you're in week 8 and you're kind of like, huh, do we? I mean, okay, Patrick Paul's been good for sure. But other than that, do we have young, promising talent to build around? I don't think you can give a definitive answer. I think most people would lean to no through 8 weeks.
No, I think the only young guys you're nailed down excited about are Patrick Paul and Devon Achane. Everybody else, Chop, look, it's only half the season, but yeah, Chop's definitely been a disappointment so far. We have an answer on who the Dolphins are going with as backup quarterback. Dolphins actives and inactives are out. We'll get to that coming on up. Omar Kelly going to join us at the top of next hour. Back with more Game Day Uncensored after this.
I'm Seth Jones of the Panthers. Congratulations to WQAM.
FM 1043. Or you can listen to WQAM on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps. Check it out now.
Now, let's get back to Game Day Uncensored. the pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day, Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Let us get to our actives and inactives, brought to you by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business, a 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road and Margate. All right, so we get to the actives and inactives here for the Dolphins. Inactive for the Dolphins today, Elijah Campbell, out. Juju Brents, out. Jordan Colbert, out. Taj Washington, a little surprising, inactive. Julian Hill, knew that was coming, inactive. And Zeke Biggers, inactive. But honestly, the one that probably garners the most headlines, the Dolphins have made their choice for their emergency third QB. And this week, it's back to Quinn Ewers, which means Zach Wilson is back to the backup quarterback.
What are we doing?
QB2 is Zach Wilson.
What are we doing?
Just winging it, I guess. What do you think that is? Like, what do you think it is? Do you think that McDaniel, they go that direction? Do you think McDaniel then was like, didn't like what I saw? He's clearly not ready. And if Tua's sick, I want a veteran there. What do you think that is? I know I'm asking you to explain the mad scientist and what he's thinking there, but they did not. The Quinn Ewers era is apparently not upon us.
What was your takeaway from last week? Because there's different ways we can go about it, which is, hey, the season's cooked. Zach Wilson has been underperforming anyways. Why not go with the rookie? Which is what I thought it was. Like, that's what I thought was happening last week. But then Mike McDaniel goes into his word salad, and it seemed to me, Tobin, based on how he described what happened there, it seemed to me like this was McDaniel trying to hold Zach Wilson accountable. Like, oh, you're going to come in, you're going to kind of half-ass it during practice. Okay, watch this. We're going to put Quinn Ewers ahead of you. But what? This week they had the true backup quarterback battle in week 8. Like, this is the week you have the true backup quarterback battle, and now it's been decided Zach Wilson prevails once again. And we're going, I don't understand. How do you not know who your backup quarterback is going into week 8?
It's weird. And then we had the thing where, when it was asked about this last week, he was like, yeah, I thought that's what gave us the best chance to win, which I was like, what? And look, it's not like Quinn Ewers lit the world on fire. It's not like he came away and, his first drive was, it was rough. Second drive, he had that deep ball, showed guts, showed moxie standing in the pocket. He did, Gameday. He looked good. He almost got Jalen Waddle knocked out for the season. Oh, that did happen. Well, that's not his fault. He shouldn't be out there. He shouldn't have been.
Jalen Waddle shouldn't be trying either, but something like that. Goodness.
Jalen Waddle went out there and he got basically RKO'd by his face mask in a completely meaningless part of the game. I have no idea why he was out there. The wide receiver coach, why, what happened there? Crazy. But now he's back to Zach Wilson. Maybe the motivation thing is there, but maybe do you think there's at any point where he looks at this, he goes, I might actually pull Tua today. If Tua throws a pick, I'm going to go with a guy with some more experience.
Yeah, but yes, it's possible. It's the first week. We talked about it earlier where, and I think you asked Perk, it's the first week where you go in thinking, wow, Uno's got a short leash. Hey, you're going to come out, you're going to throw an interception in the first quarter and then follow it up with a 3-and-out. Okay, we're going to make a change here. But does Zach Wilson truthfully give you a better chance to win than Quinn Ewers? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But again, I don't think they know the answer to that, which is why you've had this kind of backup carousel going on. I don't think they know the answer to that. And no, does Zach Wilson give you a better chance than Tua Tagovailoa? Tua could throw 5 picks. I don't think he does. I don't genuinely, I don't.
The guy has a 0 as his number. He's not a serious person.
He's not.
Good for him. He was able to fleece the Dolphins this year for some dough. His agent, masterful job. But I don't have any faith that he's going to do anything. I don't know we're going basically off of his career. His preseason wasn't very impressive. You know, he didn't look like he had a huge grasp of this offense, making those quick decisions. So it felt to me like when they made that decision last week that just Quinn Ewers is more built for the system, a distributor, a guy who can make quick choices. But I just think that, you know, maybe McDaniel saw that sample size and he goes, you know what? He just ain't ready yet. He's just not.
But I did see an Omar Kelly tweet earlier this morning because somebody had asked him, who's the backup today? He said they had a backup battle this week. Winner this week prevails. And the way I took that, and again, we'll ask Omar now in a few minutes, but it was kind of like, this was the week that it'll be decided. and I can't wrap my head around that. Why this week? And like you mentioned, Zach Wilson, it didn't seem like he gained significant ground on Quinn Ewers during preseason. And it was a topic of conversation going into week one when you had that 2 week off after the final preseason game. Like, hey, who's the backup quarterback going to be? And it always felt like he was leaning Zach Wilson, but that to me was more of a decision based off salary rather than performance and rather than production. So here we are, week 8, still talking about it. And it feels like these guys could actually end up in the game at some point today, which is why it's a topic of conversation, which is crazy in the first place. But Tobin, something else that I can't wrap my head around, why is Taj Washington inactive? Why keep him on the roster if he's not going to end up getting an opportunity at all? Like, wasn't this somebody, I know you spoke with his former coach up in your favorite city of Indianapolis, somebody who was who you know, they speak very highly of. He ends up making the 53-man roster. You lose Tyreek Hill. He's still not active. And then, you know, you're in a game here where you're missing your number one target for Tua and Tyreek Hill. Now, the guy who's emerged as the number 2 target in Darren Waller goes to the IR. You're without Julian Hill, another target for Tua Tagovailoa. What's the point of this guy staying on the roster, taking up a 53-man roster spot, if you're not even going to give him the chance to go out there?
Yeah, it's a fair question. I think probably with him, it's just like he's in one of the rare spots where, like, whose snaps is he going to take? You got Waddle, you got Malik, you got NWI.
There you go. You just named one that I'd be okay with him taking.
I think they trust, like, for Westbrook-Ikhine, I think they trust his blocking and doing a lot of that non-catching the football receiver stuff, the River Craycraft stuff. I think that's what they trust him out there for, and they probably just don't for Taj Washington.
So who are Tua's targets going into today? We know Waddle is active, obviously Devon Achane, but Jalen Waddle, Malik Washington, D. Eskridge.
Yep.
Your tight ends are going to be Tanner Connor.
And the one thing with D is he's in the return game too. So
right.
For sure. That's going to get him his roster spot when you're deciding. But I get it. Like, you're just like, hey, let's throw some stuff against the wall. I'm not, you know me, I love that stuff. I'm not against it at all.
And Cedric Wilson is elevated, right? He's officially been.
Has he been? I didn't even realize. Wow,
yeah, I believe he is.
I totally forgot he was on the roster. I'm not even doing a bit here. I really did. Like, I thought they maybe released him or something like that.
No. I mean, he's coming off a surgery. That's the Chris Greer. You know, he loves that, man. Guy has a surgery, go right to him.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad that they've made that choice with that. The only thing I can say about the getting back to the quarterback thing, it looks like Storm Duck's back this week too, which is nice. We should mention Drake London out for the Falcons, so that's good news. That helps the Dolphins in some way. But I would say the one thing I would say with the quarterback thing is I do think there's an element to Mike McDaniel, right? Like, if you're gonna go down and you're going down in flames, there's a little bit of the idea of, hey, have the young kid out there, at least it shows you something, you know? And I think that there could be an element of that where the coach is like, you know, if Tua is going to keep turning the ball over in bunches and he's going to go out there and he's going to be a time bomb every time, at least I could see what I got here and see if there's something doing for this team and for this roster, you know. So I guess not having that out there is just one of those things where he just doesn't feel like the kid is ready yet. Because I think the very easy thing to do for a coach is be like, I will put the new thing out there and I will get everybody all riled up, because the popular thing to do, honestly, is right now everybody would love to see Tua benched and see what you got in the young kid. That would be the easy thing to do if you're Mike McDaniel.
But again, this is where this gets dicey, and why I think Stephen Ross has to be a more willing participant in his organization, because here you are at the tail end of an era, and you've got a coach who wants to win to save his job, and you've got a coach whose entire career is attached to the starting quarterback. But then, as a fan base, you're saying, all right, this obviously isn't going anywhere. I want to see what else we've got. I want to see who else on the roster can be given an opportunity and show us some flashes. Maybe you've got a diamond in the rough somewhere, but it's that balancing act of, hey, the coach isn't trying to do anything other than put the guys he believes gives you the best opportunity to win. Meanwhile, the entire fan base is sick of watching those guys.
Yeah, and it's also gonna be an interesting thing. I don't know if did you read any of that Barry Jackson piece on the successors of Stephen Ross and who's gonna take over for him? Because it is interesting. Like, look, he's still old. He's an old man, and you got to wonder from his standpoint, like, when does he want to pull the trigger on stepping back completely? It may be never, maybe until he's in the grave. I don't know. But you are gonna, eventually get to this point where he's turned down big time. I think $10 billion. I think he turned down
$10 billion.
That's all. I mean, obviously that comes with a lot of other stuff with the Dolphins and that facility and everything that it has. But it's interesting. He's gone over this change over the last few years where he had a successor who was going to take it in Bruce Beal. Beal was a terrible tamperer. So, you kick him out the door and be like, nope, you're not taking over the Dolphins. And now it seems like it's going to be more of an in-family thing, either with his daughter or his son-in-law taking over. And you do kind of wonder, like, hey, if the Dolphins go in this pivot direction, do they do that with also Stephen Ross taking a step back and it going, we're seeing this with the Irsay family where, like, yes, they all grew up in the organization and they've had a handle on things, but is there going to be some changing of the guard with that too, where it's just like, you know what? Maybe this is a young man's game or a younger man's game, and they'll have more success, because I think when you get old, you become more sentimental, you become emotional, you start thinking about things, maybe you're just not as cutthroat. I know Stephen Ross is also like trying to revamp Palm Beach, because that's exactly what Palm Beach needs, is more buildings. So it's always kind of felt like the Dolphins have always kind of felt like to Stephen Ross, like his getaway of more serious things. Like, it's not really his bread and butter. It's not like Jerry Jones, where this is what he does. And that's got good and bad, because you can have owners who are too meddling, but it's not necessarily what he's known for. Like, this guy's literally like revamping cities and counties. And so you do wonder, like, at what point do you have somebody who's more hands-on in the football that's part of your family that's taking care of this stuff? Because it feels a little absentee right now.
I'm glad you bring up the Barry article, because I had this written down in my notes. I just had to look for it really quickly. And for everybody who's saying, hey, Stephen Ross, sell the team. And I don't think any of us actually expect that, Tobin. But this, to me, was the most important part of that Barry Jackson piece in the Miami Herald. I highly recommend everybody read it. He writes, if Ross were to pass away as owner of the team and his family then sold the team, they would avoid a $1 billion plus in capital gains taxes, because the IRS gives special treatment to appreciated assets when somebody passes away. But in this scenario, his family would get hit with an estate tax, potentially of more than $2.5 billion, according to an official who has worked on sports transactions. The family would need to pay that tax regardless whether the franchise was sold to an outside buyer after Ross's death or simply passed on to his daughter, Jennifer. Those taxes typically must be paid within 9 months of death. So, Barry writes, continuing to own the team makes financial sense for Stephen Ross. This franchise is not getting sold. And by the way, you bring up his daughter, Jennifer, who apparently already possibly owns a piece of the team. And then her husband, who is embedded within Stephen Ross's, one of his companies, and they've are responsible for bringing European soccer clubs here to Miami. Clearly, the guy has a very staunch interest in sports, in business and sports, and perhaps in my mind, him and his wife owning this team, taking the franchise, the reins of the franchise over. To me, it's pretty much set in stone there. Now, who knows what ends up happening? But I think we're kind of seeing the breadcrumbs already. Like those will be the next two owners, or the owner and his daughter, and under the guidance of her husband in this franchise. Like that's how it's going to play out here.
Yeah, and that's one of those things too, is like, well, when do you make the decision of like, how much say do they have in the next regime and and making those changes? And like if you are Stephen Ross and you do feel like the end is coming, and you're going to go into some kind of transition or whatnot, do you want your last legacy to be? And look, you should listen to your fan base, but from his personal standpoint, does he want to be like, I'm going down firing everybody? He never liked it. He doesn't like doing it as in his ownership when he was younger. He didn't like doing it.
But for what it's worth, Tobin, I don't think we're at the end of his ownership era. I know, we all like to point to his age, not to get, not to get personal here, but I don't think he's at the point where, this guy, aside, you're talking about this being more of like a passion project for him. Mm-hmm. He seems to be doing okay everywhere else where he's putting work in and continues his real estate ventures and continues his private equity ventures. Like, he's with it, man. This guy's not out of it. This guy's not, a weekend at Bernie's situation. He's with it everywhere else. He's making moves everywhere else. He's increasing his net worth everywhere else. So I don't think he's stepping aside. My whole point, going back to last year, I brought this up when Bees was joining us. He's got one more go at it here, in my opinion. He's got one more opportunity to salvage what his name will be, his name, Stephen Ross, as the owner of the Miami Dolphins, because through 16 years, it's been a bleep show. All he's got to show for it is 3 playoff appearances where the team lost by double digits in every single one. He's got another go at it to try to salvage that, because if not, he'll be remembered in this town as somebody who bought the organization that was still, a prized possession in the National Football League. Say what you will about the Dolphins in the mid-aughts, but this was still an organization respected and expected to be held to a certain standard, and it's been tanked and run through the mud ever since.
Yeah, which is why he has to keep adding like tournaments and events down here, because it's the only success he can get a hand on. It's like it's the only thing that he could point to and be like, no, that's my legacy of like redoing things down there in Miami Gardens to make it an attractive place for the world.
And he deserves, Tobin, he deserves all the credit in the world. He made Miami Gardens a sports destination. That in itself might be the most unbelievable thing in the history of South Florida sports. Like, I'm not kidding. When you consider what that stadium, what that property has become, all that stuff is great, and you respect it.
You got Stadium Hotel. Let's not give him all the credit.
but like, I'm tired of having to go back to that every time we talk about him. At the end of the day, like, those things are great. Tip of the cap, respect, all the things they've done in this community. They have the greatest the greatest charity event in Dolphins Challenge Cancer in the NFL. It's raised more than $100 million. Like, all those things are fantastic. But man, look at the tenor of the franchise right now, of the fan base especially. They have signs at all your home games this season asking for you to fire the people you put in place to run this organization. You're in year 7 of a rebuild of a guy you hand-selected to lead this organization, and you're 1-6, and nobody wants to see the guy you paid $250 million for quarterback this team anymore. Like, at a certain point, we have to stop talking about what he's done successfully in rebuilding that organization and bringing F1 to Miami and bringing a World Cup to Miami and the national championship game, and focus on the product on the field. He's got another opportunity to make this right.
We'll take a break. Omar Kelly, Miami Dolphins columnist from the Miami Herald. He joins Gameday Uncensored next.
I'm Mario
interceptions.
I'm frustrated about those, and I got to do something about that. That's for sure. Can't turn the ball over. And I've been saying this for weeks. Can't turn the ball over and expect to win the game when you lose the turnover marginal game.
Yeah, we agree. Mike McDaniel says if the Finns are going to win, actions need to speak much louder than words.
There's not going to be words that are going to satisfy both the team, organization, fan base. Words are at this point like, I would love to put a muzzle on. We need to fix things and fast, and it's everyone, including myself.
The Falcons have a good offense, a good running back in Bijan Robinson. The Dolphins' defense needs to play with all cylinders blazing. Our cylinders are already blazing. This is Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans with Tobin and Solana, Omar Kelly, and Chris Perkins on FM 104.3 WQAM, Miami's sports leader.
Game Day Uncensored on FM 104.3 WQAM is brought to you by the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Get offers on select models now through September 2nd. Learn more at Lexus.com. By Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Shop over 22 acres of Cadillacs built for luxury and performance at Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. Start your game-winning drive today at Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac. EdmoreSawgrassCadillac.com. And by JM Lexus. JM Lexus has the best team in the business. A 4.8 Google rating with over 22,000 reviews and counting. JM Lexus, West Sample Road, Margate.
And welcome back, everybody. It's Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Brendan Tobin alongside Alejandro Solana here with you for one more hour as we get you ready for Week 8 of the NFL season, as the Miami Dolphins are getting set to take on the Atlanta Falcons over at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Got some news during the break, really sad news on the ticker there on ESPN, and the team has now tweeted out the Jets have announced the passing of their legendary center, Nick Mangold, who passed away with complications from kidney disease. I think he had just announced pretty recently that he was either going under dialysis or was seeking a donor, but the Jets just announcing that he has passed away, Solana.
Man, what, 40 years old? 41 years old? Damn.
41 years old. So,
tough.
Prayers out to the Mangold family, the Jets family. That is really, really tragic news to hear. The 7-time Pro Bowl center for the New York Jets. So that's some very sad news here on this football morning. Yeah. We'll seamlessly transition back into the game as the Dolphins are getting set for the Falcons. Go up to Atlanta, talk to Omar Kelly there from the Miami Herald. Omar, how are you this morning?
I'm good, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. This feels like every week that there could be a nightmare scenario. I'm sure Bijan Robinson had to be putting his head on the pillow, licking his chops, thinking about what he can do to this defense. Can they turn the tides? Is this the week, Omar? Can the defense bear down a little bit and get some things going and I don't know, stop them?
Absolutely not. While they have made improvements and gotten better as a defensive unit, they are still the worst in the NFL against the run. They are still the worst team in the NFL defensively. I think the only thing that's redeemable is their third down defense. This would be so much better of a season if the defense was even respectable or average, but unfortunately they are not.
Omar, I don't ask this question to challenge your point at all. I'm genuinely curious when you say they've gotten better as a unit. What exactly do you see that makes you believe that, that you can point to and say, hey, they've gotten better here, they've gotten better here? Because honestly, like Tobin and I were kind of talking about it, and it hasn't looked better. The numbers haven't looked better, in my opinion. No. So what exactly have you seen that you could point to and you say, hey, yeah, look, they're getting better here?
I think they're getting slightly better safety play right now. I know it doesn't look like it, but they're also doing better defending the run, with the exception of the big play. And obviously saying the exception of the big play is, kind of an oxymoron. But if you stop giving that leakage yards, in that produces the big play. And last week, the big play was a byproduct of Minkah Fitzpatrick being held on the play. Let's be real about it. But those things happen. Devon Achane had his big run because Jonas Savaiinaea held on the play. I think you got Dotson back. I think he's getting better as the Mike linebacker, as the green dot player. The defensive rookies, they're getting better. Experience, and I've always said this, I'm not going to evaluate a rookie until we're at the midseason point. After today, we will officially be at the midseason point. So all of these excuses we made for Kenneth Grant and Jordan Phillips and Monte Trader and Ollie Gordon and Jonas Savaiinaea, all those things go out the window. So let's hope that they have a better second half compared to the first half.
Do you feel like, is there going to come a point where the Dolphins, and they don't have a lot of great options behind them, but is there a point where the excuses and the just throw them out there run out for Jonas Savaiinaea, or are they in for the long haul this year with him being a turnstile?
They're just in for the long haul. What they've said this week, and I do agree with them, is you're seeing less close your eyes nightmarish snaps. It might go down from 8 to 6, and now it's down to 5. Now let's get it to like 3. And then we could have something that we can work with. I just don't, until your savior Liam Eichenberg comes back and is healthy, you don't really have an option there. It's, I do think that James Daniels getting back, and I do foresee him and Austin Jackson getting back probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks, or maybe after the bye. Because they are working right now, and Austin Jackson's out of his boot. So that's a step in the right direction. Maybe we say, Larry Borum, you could try out guard. That's really your only option until Liam Eichenberg comes back. But Liam, come save the season, please.
We were talking about this in Tobin. Tobin is fuming right now as you say that, Omar. Tobin is fuming.
It's not going to happen either. You're going to have 2 Savaiinaeas.
Omar,
hey, he's already shown you better than Savaiinaea, though. Come on, let's be real about
it. He's OG Savaiinaea.
Yeah, that's funny.
Omar, we were talking about this in the last segment, which was, at least coming into the season, there was this optimism of, hey, no matter how this season goes, right? You've got on both the offensive and defensive line, you felt like you had building blocks. Patrick Paul, Jonas Savaiinaea, who you traded up for, and you were at the very least just hoping like, hey, the Rook would show you something this year around some other veterans.
There would be building blocks.
Correct.
You were hoping there would be building blocks. Okay.
Correct. Right. And then on the other side of the ball, aside from Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips, you felt like Chop Robinson, certified building block, would improve on an impressive closing rookie campaign. And Kenneth Grant, you were hoping could show you something as well. I got fooled into thinking Kenneth Grant would be able to contribute starting day one. Obviously, I was big time wrong. Outside of Patrick Paul, do the Dolphins, and I'm talking specifically on the trenches, but open it up anywhere else. Do the Dolphins have building blocks? Do they?
No. Patrick Paul, Devon Achane, Jalen Waddle, that's about, and say what you want to a Tagovailoa, he's not the best, but he's not the worst quarterback in the NFL. You could have Justin Fields. So stop crying about it. Those are your only building blocks. And some of these young players that you invest in, hopefully they won't suck next year. That's part of the reason why I'm like, this whole going back to Zach Wilson makes absolutely no sense. Everywhere else, you're taking your lumps, playing the young players, investing in your future, hoping that it pays you some dividends at the end. And then we go back to Zach Wilson. There's no upside there. There's no reason to play him. Outside of him fleecing you as an organization, like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Do you have a theory on it? Like, what's the deal there? Like, why go to Quinn Ewers in the first place? Like, were they just not impressed with his outing? Or do you think this, like, I don't get it. I don't understand. It feels like once you rip the Band-Aid, you're there, and now they're not.
Yeah. No, they said it was going to be open competition during practice, and I did get the sense that Zach Wilson was winning that competition. But, like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? Like, and also, I think in back of my mind, I think they want Tua not feel threatened, because if you do bench Tua, it's not Zach Wilson who's going to be playing. It's going to be Quinn Ewers. And maybe we pull that Band-Aid off in December. But right now, while I guess your season's still alive, because technically it is still alive, guys. As long as they don't lose 2 more games, their season's still alive. Now, they lose to the Falcons, lose to the Baltimore Ravens, season no longer has a pulse.
Yeah, so it's like alive, like in the hospital bed, being kept alive, right? Like it's
absolutely.
It's like a medically induced coma.
Yes, that's a perfect term for it. And I might use that in the
It's all you, buddy. That's all you. Go ahead.
Listen, this is exactly where we are. We are in a medically induced coma. We still have a pulse. Can we resuscitate ourselves and lift our arm and say I'm alive? But yeah, we could, but it's not looking good.
Well, it's funny. So you say the thing about you don't want to put like Tua looking over his shoulder, but I kind of felt like, and I don't know if I'm reading too much, but it feels the most frosty between him and Mike that it's been. And so, like, is there, when you go to Zach, is it just because you don't feel like, because you may just yank Tua and be like, oh, I don't know if Zach, I don't want to crush Quinn's confidence too. Like, that's almost how I'm looking at it. Like, look, if Tua goes and throws 2 more picks, like, I think I gotta send a message at some point.
Nah, Tua's the wrong person to send that message with. Think about what he's going to be playing with today. Tell me his top 4 weapons.
He's got Achane, got Waddle.
Now you're struggling. Yeah,
Malik Washington, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Give me another one.
What about that Alec Ingold deep pass they like running?
I actually like that pass. I like the Alec Ingold swing pass. That's it. Tua's got nothing today. Tua's got Waddle and Achane. Doesn't even have Julian Hill. Tanner Connor, we've invested 3 years in him. Let's see what it gives us. Okay, cool. Maybe Ollie Gordon finally has a breakout game as a runner, and you have Achane play in the slot. They got nothing, bro. They got nothing. Cedric Wilson, is Cedric Wilson going to put on a cape and rescue the Dolphins today?
I totally forgot he was on the team until people were like, oh, yeah, he's active. I totally forgot they even did that thing.
Yeah. This team has nothing right now. And so everybody's sitting here like, oh, Tua sucks. Yeah, okay. What weapons does he have?
Well,
double Achane, put a lot of focus on Achane, double Waddle, and who's gonna beat you? Name them. Give me that person.
Right, but Omar, to be fair, you don't need elite weapons to run just down the actual line of scrimmage, because that's where Tua throws the ball. That's it. That's the only place Tua throws the ball, Omar. Any of us could go and run parallel to the line of scrimmage, Omar.
He does not. Don't do that. That's not fair. That's not accurate.
You would agree.
They're clouding the middle of the field, forcing Tua to throw outside.
Uh-huh.
The team's counter is screens, which is just dumb. Yeah. When you have nobody threatening, who's going to catch a screen and take it to the house other than Waddle?
I'm guessing Achane. That's it. Like, just that's the list. But it feels like even with Waddle, he didn't even go to him last week, and it's like it's all Achane, save us or nothing. That's it.
You know what's interesting about that? Last week, Waddle took a lot of responsibility for why him and Tua didn't connect. He's like, we weren't on the same page. I was responsible for a lot of that. The routes, the adjustments, the reads, we just weren't on the same page. Now, Tua, and people will say I'm making excuses for Tua, but if I didn't go to Waddle and say like, hey, were you at fault for any of this? It's but heavy is the head that wears the crown. We've said that time and time again. Mike has said that time and time again. When you get paid $42 million a year, and that's really what he gets paid, fellas, not this whole 54, blah, blah, blah.
It's a lot.
When you get paid that much money, your team talent-wise is going to be stripped a little bit, and ultimately you're going to have to play like you're making $42 million a year. And right now, especially when he's turning the ball over. He's not playing like that. You turn the ball over, you put your team in bad situations. Play action game isn't alive because you have no threat of the run game. When the play action game goes away, you will struggle, Tua. So he needs to have his play action game alive. They actually need to find a second weapon, somebody who can complement Tua. I have absolutely no idea who it's going to be. And Tua's acknowledged, hey, I got to work on chemistry with all these guys because I don't know these strangers.
Omar, it does sound to me like you're not really giving the Dolphins any chance to win this football game today. Is there a way in your mind that they do win this football game? I mean, Tua playing in a dome. I know his weapons are, as you just mentioned, are obviously not noteworthy guys. But is there an avenue where you see the Dolphins either have the edge or can overcome adversity and win this football game today?
Absolutely. Kirk Cousins is going to be making his first start in nearly a year. He's got to be a little bit rusty. He's going to be playing without Drake London. All it takes is one injury from Bijan Robinson. I'm not sure they have their second back. They have a chance to win every Sunday. I say this all the time, and I will stop believing it after today. They're not as bad as they played. They've just played very bad football together. Like if they would play collective football, they'd probably be 3-3 or 3-4. They've just been very bad and do not complement one another. And imagine a day, and it does happen to NFL teams, where all three phases of your game is just hot. It can happen at any time against any opponent, and it very well could happen today.
No, I mean, I get you. Like when Zach Sealer, who I love to death, like if he stops playing Rock'em Sock'em Robots with the QB's head, like these are the guys you're supposed to trust. And even they're coming up with just botched penalties that keep things going. It's been unbelievably frustrating from everybody.
Yeah, this is the season that this is the team that Chris Greer built, and this is the season that they are having. It's called the organic tank.
Like at a farmer's market. Like this tank is much fresher.
Yeah.
Or more rancid. I don't know what you want in that way.
It's no additives,
Yep.
no intentional sabotage, just a bad team.
Omar, appreciate the time, man.
I guess.
There you go. Omar Kelly. Go follow his work at the Miami Herald. Always appreciate when he gives us time here on Gameday Uncensored. Of course, you hear him throughout the week here on QAM as well. Take a break. More to come here on Gameday Uncensored. Back after this.
I'm Khalil Ware of the Miami Heat. Congratulations to
Time now for more Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on FM 104.3 WQAM.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Game Day Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Thanks again to Omar Kelly and Chris Perkins for stopping by the program as we get you ready for Dolphins and Falcons Week 8 of the NFL season. And Game Day Uncensored brought to you by the Lexus TX. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. It is that time of the show. Sensitive times right now. Everybody's watching their apps, but not us. We back down from nothing. And this is a segment we like to call Porpoise Props.
It's time for
I don't know about you, but that looked like money.
Porpoise Props.
Hopefully you didn't jinx us.
Props.
All right, Solana. So the Miami Dolphins come into this game. The line has gone down a little bit.
Yeah.
The Dolphins are now 7-point underdogs instead of 7.5. So I don't know if that's Kirk Cousins. I don't know if that's people seeing Drake London go down, but the Dolphins getting some action of people believing them in this week. Bijan Robinson is minus 275 for an anytime touchdown today.
2 or more touchdowns from Bijan Robinson is only at plus 165. That's so annoying. That's so annoying, man.
Yeah. He's got 4 on the season. It's not like he's gone out here and he's got already a dozen touchdowns on the season. But they think that it's so likely he's going to dominate this game. His rushing numbers over under 87.5. It was 90 earlier in the week. Even that's come down a little bit.
Damn.
It's crazy.
Because everybody was just slamming the over,
Yep.
I mean,
I wish there was some kind of a prop for him. I don't like betting against my team, but even him running for a Hyundai today is plus 160. It's not great. For example, Devon Achane to go for 100 is plus 400. So just to give you an idea how much people think he's going to cook today. Devon Achane, by the way, on an anytime touchdown is minus 130 for the Dolphins. He's obviously continued to have a great year. Jalen Waddle, if you think he's going to get into the end zone, he's at a plus 185. So you're almost getting him at 2-1, which is not something that you commonly get when it comes to Jalen Waddle. As far as anybody else, man, the other guys, the other options, you got Malik Washington plus 400. You got Ollie Gordon plus 425, Tanner Connor plus 475, and Nick Westbrook-Akini at plus 550. Is there anybody you like having a sneaky good game today, Solana?
So a sneaky good game, man.
Aside from Achane or even Waddle, do any of these guys tickle your fancy?
I mean, look, you look at Malik Washington, his over-unders at 24.5, like you mentioned. And in my mind, I'm saying, how does that not go over, right? Tua's got to throw it to somebody. You're looking for weapons. You're looking for guys to go make plays. The problem is I felt that way every week since Tyreek Hill's gone down. And his best game was last week, 30 yards, 8 targets, 5 receptions, 30 yards. And one of those plays came on 14 yards. So I don't know. I don't know what the Dolphins are going to do today, Tobin. I genuinely, other than Devon Achane, I think Waddle might end up having a good game. That was kind of in a bit of a controversy. So you just expect Tua and Waddle to link up certainly more than they did last week. But I look at Malik Washington over 24.5 is his receiving total. And I'm saying, yeah, that's going to hit for sure. But I've been burned by it a couple times already this season.
Is this the week that Zach Sealer finally gets a sack? He's got a statue to go after in Kirk Cousins. I started the season parlaying him with Malik Washington. None of that has paid off for me. He can't get a sack. Do you think this could be the week that he finally gets his hands on a quarterback? Or are you done with him?
No, I'm not done with him. It's going to happen. It's going to happen at some point, and you're going to bet it.
Yeah.
Are you not? You're gonna bet it today.
I just did it. I went Jalen Waddle anytime touchdown with a Zach Sealer sack at plus 1,000.
Hey, what about receiving and rushing yards combined? Bijan Robinson, they've got it at 134.5, but you have to put minus 130 to take the over.
Yeah.
So they're expecting him to get around 40-ish yards, 45-ish yards of receiving, around 87.5 yards of rushing. Man, he had a game where he had over 200 all-purpose yards.
No, he's a monster.
Just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he's a monster. And he's got to be, and I'm sure the Dolphins know that. I'm sure the Dolphins are going to say, like, I think if you're Anthony Weaver, you go into this game, you're like anybody else but him. And I just don't know if it matters. I don't know if it matters because even with them losing Drake London, you know, I still think they're going to try every which way to get him in space and make things happen. And he's just that kind of a talent. So I don't know, dude. I don't know. Like I might put some silly numbers up on Bijan if you're going to bet him just because why not? He might do that against this team.
Yeah. By the way, Riley Patterson over 1.5 field goals made, even money right now, plus 100. Dude's been money this season.
It doesn't seem like Jason Sanders. I saw the coach said, I don't know if it's this week or last week, where he's like, yeah, he may not come back this year. I mean, you're a kicker, you have a hip injury, who knows? You know, Riley's been fine. Your point stand. That was not a bad take by you. It wasn't a bad take. He did need 2 kicks to make 1 last week, but you know, whatever. Happens.
That's my Mona Lisa.
that's the one you're most proud of.
Yep, that's my Mona Lisa. Riley Patterson. Weren't going to feel a drop-off from Jason Sanders. Might end up being the Dolphins kicker next year, too. Never know.
Crazy, man. This is an absolute crazy thing with the Dolphins right now. But
Riley Patterson's the pleasant surprise of the season?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, no.
Just like who wants to bet on
hurts.
Yeah, who wants to bet on these guys? Like Nick Westbrook-Akine. Jalen Wright's plus 1,000 if anybody thinks they're going to give him a shot. They won't.
Ollie Gordon to get a touchdown, plus 425. The thing is, the Dolphins have to get into the red zone. That in itself has proved to be an issue already. And then once they're in the red zone, I mean, they have to score a touchdown. That also has been an issue over the past couple of weeks.
No, it has. It's rough. It's rough. So we'll see what's up with that with the Miami Dolphins and this matchup coming on up. But it does feel like high times that they get a performance by Zach Sealer.
Are you putting any stock into Tua's illness?
Well, I'm not betting Tua today. I mean,
just in general, like, does that make you feel any type of way about whether or not he can perform today?
No,
right? Like he's out there.
Nah, not
he's
really.
out there. Yeah.
Healthy Tua has sucked recently. You know, like what is that gonna? What is he's going to go from worst to the worst? Like, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I mean, no, I don't think so. I mean, that'll be his thing. Like, Tua, he was throwing up all night, whatever. No one's going to give him a break on this.
So you're not betting Tua flu game?
Nope.
What about Tua anytime touchdown?
No, I never bet that.
Plus 1,100.
Suckers bet. When's the last time Tua had a rushing touchdown?
The thing is, has he ever?
I don't know.
If you tell me he's never done it, I mean, I'm going to tell you, well, he's due.
According to Stat News, he has 6 career rushing touchdowns, but all of them were in his first 2 seasons.
Wow.
Yep. How about that? So, yeah, that's a sucker's bet. Don't do that. Take a break. Maybe. Take a break. We'll predict the game ball on the other side. Take a look around the 1 o'clock slate here in the NFL and give some final thoughts as Gameday Uncensored wraps up after this.
I'm Nikola Jovic of the Miami Heat. Congratulations to WQAM on its move to FM at 1
Uncensored here on FM 104.3 WQAM. Solana, did you see this video that I sent you during the break?
Yeah. To Pink Eye?
I think it's Pink Eye. Either that or he fought Cyril Gane yesterday. That's a UFC. It's really funny if you guys saw UFC yesterday. Heavyweight championship ends in an eye poke.
Or is that just the shadow of the visor and the stadium?
He doesn't wear a visor, right? Like, I don't think Tua's a visor guy.
He wears a visor sometimes, no?
I don't know. I don't think he does. I'd have to look at like the pictures from like last week, see if like he typically wears a visor. I don't think he typically does wear a visor.
You mentioned it. I think you might be right. I'm going to look it up here. I have access to Tua pictures over the
pictures. See if he's worn a visor this year. I don't think he does. Wear a visor.
Definitely did not wear a visor last week at home versus the Chargers. Did not wear a visor at home. You're right. He doesn't wear a visor.
In defense, some players wear them in dome stadiums because of the glare from the lights.
Okay. All right.
Well, his eye looks terrible, by the way.
His eye looks terrible. It really does. Like, and they said like Tua, we're not just doing this out of nowhere, by the way. They said they tweeted out today that Tua was sick. That Tua has an illness. Oh, you want to play with someone with pink eye? Is that like something like you got the ball all over the place? Like, is that cool?
You're good.
Is that?
I mean, get out of here. Channing Crowder peed on himself every game. I mean, you're worried about a little pink eye?
Yeah, I think I am. The one he's sitting here with his Cyclops eye being out here being like, hey, yeah, throw me the ball, Tua. You got to switch gloves before every series. Like, put some hand sanitizer in your kangaroo pouch, something like that.
He is not worn. And Day, your point sounds very very logical, which is you wear a visor in a dome. It's different conditions, but he has not worn a visor all season.
Okay. Well,
have they played in a dome?
No. I'm saying like he hasn't, but you're right. Like it very well could be because of the lighting in the dome, and that's why, or it could be because he has pink eye.
Well, we know he's sick. Like we know he's sick, and it's in the one thing. Like I think anytime you have something mess with your eye, even if it is in a dome or whatever, but like you get more sensitive to light too. Like you just like, so that could be that as well. I mean, but man, it's
maybe it's like one of those visors with the technology Chauncey Billups was using to read cards. Maybe that's how Tua is going to be able to find Jalen Waddle. He's going to be able to just AI vision. Oh, there's Waddle. Now I can see him.
Crazy. Like this is insane. Like this really is the year from hell, because it's like, oh, how did the Dolphins get worse today? Oh, I know. How about a quarterback with one eye? He already can't see because he's not tall. But why don't we put him out there and he's out there with a patch over his eye?
Oh, that would have been so epic if he played with a patch over his eye.
Oh, so cool.
The Tua eye game is incoming, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that his lead eye? I didn't even see.
That's his left eye.
DLC. Oof. Yeah, so he's got his lead eye if he did go patch. That's crazy. That's crazy, dude. What are we doing here? Let's get to our.
I mean, it's okay. Like it'll be okay. It's pink eye. You can still see with pink eye.
Yeah, but it's gross.
I mean, Mike Tyson won a world championship with a lot worse.
Spinal. Let's get to Predict the Game Ball. Our player to watch brought to you by the Lexus TX. Room for all your passions and 3 rows of luxurious comfort. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. Who are you going with, Solana?
Tua's eye.
Wow.
Pink eye. Conjunctivitis. Is that the term for pink eye? Is it conjunctivitis? All right. My game ball goes to conjunctivitis. No, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna hate myself for it, but I'm going to go with Malik Washington again. I'm 0 for 2 on Malik Washington game balls, but I'm trying to do the math here. Who gets the football? Okay, Devon Achane and Jalen Waddle, but there's got to be one other person that is going to get the ball. And I think Devon Achane is going to get it more than anybody else. Last week, Jalen Waddle only got it one time. And then other than the attempt from Quinn Ewers, which almost put him in the hospital, I'm just doing the math here, Tobin. And if Tua can't see Jalen Waddle, plus his one eye is limited, well then who's your next best weapon? It's Malik Washington. So I'll try it again for the third time. Maybe it's a charm. Malik Washington will be productive in the Dolphins offense today. He gets my game ball.
Okay. I'm going with Devon Achane. I'm not. If you're not taking him, then I'm taking him.
All reliable.
Save us, Achane, please. Guy's the human life preserver. It's unbelievable. He's had such reliable. A good season. I think, because it's like, if they're going to go with Bijan Robinson, they're also a good passing defense too. Like, this is the guy. You're going to be like, all right, what can we do? Now, I'm sure that the league is going to get to a point where they're like, hey, if we shut him down or we could try and shut him down, that's going to be the key to ending the Dolphins. But I think that he still has a good game out there today. He's been awesome. Dan, you got a prediction today? Who will get the game ball for the Dolphins?
Yeah, no joke. I am going to go with conjunctivitis, and it's going to be for a weird reason because he has every excuse to be bad today. It kind of relieves him. He's got the eye. He's got the illness. He's playing against the number one defense. It's like, oh, no, he's going to be terrible. So he's like, you know what? I'm playing carefree. Plus, he's in a dome. No conditions he has to worry about other than air conditioning. And he's had a much maligned week. So I'm going Tua, man. Okay. I think Tua has a breakout game and gets the win.
All right.
Dan Day's optimism, man. Dan, I wish I had I just wish I had your approach to life. Genuinely, I did. I do. It's a much better, Tobin, Dan Day's perspective on things is a much better way to live life. Like he's just optimistic. Like, let's go. We're doing it this week. Let's go. Meanwhile, you and I are very much just expecting another miserable Sunday afternoon.
According to Barry Jackson, Tua's illness is a swollen eye, so he's warming up with sunglasses, per CBS Silent reporter Melanie Collins, but he will play.
That's an excuse to be good. Look, I'm supposed to suck, so anything I do is lanyap. I'm using a Cajun term, is extra. Anything I do is extra.
Man. Crazy. Also today in the 1 o'clock slate, we got Jets and Bengals. Joe Flacco trying to get the Bengals back to 500. The Jets winless. Cincinnati's a 5.5-point favorite. We got Bears and Ravens. No Lamar Jackson back just yet. The Bears 4-2 on the season. They've been rolling a little bit. The Ravens trying to avoid going 1-6 as well. Tell you what, gotta have your eyes on the Bills today, Solana. Bills and Panthers. Panthers have been feisty. Panthers are 4-3. The Bills are 4-2. Can the Panthers get it done? They are 7.5-point road favorites today, Buffalo, but the Panthers have used the Dolphins as a launch pad and have been spunky.
But I'm pretty sure Bryce Young is out for that game.
He is out.
Right?
He is out.
Yeah. I know you're not the biggest Bryce Young fan, but isn't it the Red Rifle?
I think it is the Red Rifle.
Yeah.
Can he do it for one day? This has been the year of dialing it up. Joe Flacco, retreads all over the place. Maybe you can get it done, dude.
Hey, Tobin, Bills lose this game. Fraud alert.
A little bit.
Right?
A little bit. There could be some pressure coming to Buffalo if that happens. Not from the Dolphins, obviously. I mean, they're probably wishing, hey, we get another Dolphins game out here. Feel ourselves a little bit better. You got the 49ers and Texans today. Texans have not been impressive this year.
Yeah, Nico Collins is out for Houston, so CJ Stroud is figuring out who his wide receiver number one is going to be.
You got the Giants and Eagles. AJ Brown still hates being there, even though they're a good team.
He's out too. AJ Brown's like, you know what? I'm good. I ain't going to play this week. Are you buying into the Giants? Everybody, that's America's sweetheart right now.
No.
No,
I don't think so. I think that I worry about their dynamic duo making it through the season. They seem like they play too dangerously.
Scottaboo, Jackson Dart. I think did I see Scottaboo got like grills put into his mouth?
I didn't see that. I think I read that, but I also saw that he got fined $15,000 for interfering with concussion protocol, which seems like something he would do.
It's not even his fault. I mean, it's his head coach. His head coach doesn't believe in concussions.
It's crazy. Isn't that funny though? Like, when this happened with the Dolphins, like people wanted charges being brought up with Jackson Dart. They're just like, he's fine. Look at him dance.
No, I mean we had like an independent evaluator up in a booth looking at every play and analyzing every play after Tua Tagovailoa's concussion in Cincinnati, And then, Brian Daboll gets to run into the blue tent and just yell and berate a doctor.
Yep. That's how that goes. Crazy, man. What kind of time? What are we doing around here? Absolutely wild. And then you got the Buccaneers and Saints today. Actually, that's at 4:05. The last one on the 1 o'clock slate is Browns and Patriots.
Yeah.
Patriots are a 7.5-point favorite at home.
That's going to that's going to sting a little bit when Drake May lights up the Cleveland Browns defense. And you're just going to be like, oh,
yep.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. And then later today, we got Heat action from the Kaseya Center. The Heat, they take on the New York Knicks. By the way, a shout out to Mike Biamonte, the legend. It was announced yesterday that Michael B is going to be stepping down after his 35th season. I don't really know how I'm going to handle that. Like that's going to be one of those where I'm not going to be okay.
That's tough, man.
He's an absolute legend. I cannot believe that this is the last season for Mike Biamonte.
Legend, but also just good dude, right? Like genuinely great dude. There's been certain Heat games where Mike Biamonte is not there. I remember last year for a regular season game, his daughter was graduating up in university, so he went to the graduation, obviously, and it's no shade to the PA guy who filled in for him, who I think is very talented as well. But a Heat game without Mike Biamonte, without him yelling 2 minutes, 2 minutos, like it doesn't hit the same, man.
Nah, it doesn't. Even it's just like one of those things. Like he has how many guys like the way they hit a road voice, and it's just like, oh, he knows he's going through it with us. I always feel like he's bringing us along for the ride. And so when I heard that Mike Biamonte was stepping down yesterday, I was just like, I'm not okay with this. Like, this is I don't think I'm going to let him leave.
It's like
I'm going to stop him at the. I'm going to talk to him today and be like, no, you're not leaving. I'm not letting you.
Dwayne Wade retiring, that got me in the feels. That's my childhood right there, just ending. But now Mike B too. Like a Heat game without Mike B, without Dwayne Wade. I mean, what's happening, man?
This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Got another note here from Barry Jackson. He tweets out, CBS's Trent Green says Tua will wear a visor for the first time in his pro career, and said the challenge with that is dealing with the light's reflections inside of a dome. So Trent Green's saying that could be a little bit of an issue for. Listen, he already has enough issues as it is. I don't know if the visor. I'm not going to give the visor as the pass today.
Is it your birthday, Tobin?
It will be on Tuesday.
Oh, because people earlier this morning were texting in happy birthday. And I mean, I don't know your birthday, to be honest. No offense. Okay. I love you, buddy, but I don't know your birthday.
My birthday's on Tuesday.
I was gonna say, I mean, man, what a awful birthday for you. You spend 4 hours with me now and 4 hours with me later. Like that I felt bad for you. I was gonna bring you a cake or something.
Last year the birthday was awesome because it was the Heat's home opener, I believe, and or maybe it was the second game, whenever Dwayne Wade statue night was. And which obviously the statue wasn't great, but you want to know what was great? The unveiling of Dwayne Wade Boulevard.
Yes.
Went smooth. I think like that made up for the weekend for Dwayne Wade. He's like, at least I got my street.
Yeah.
Everybody hates but the street.
Did you get credit for that? Like, did the Heat give you any credit for that, or was there?
Because you know who did give me credit that day? Mm-hmm. Dwayne Wade came over to me.
He remembered. That was a cool moment for sure.
I was like, that was good. That was a good birthday.
Yeah,
that was a good birthday, Solana. So yeah, that tonight we'll have 5 o'clock. So here's your program the rest of the day. Got Dolphins. Got Dan Day coming up with Game Day Uncensored post game edition. 5 o'clock preheat. Myself and Solana will get you ready for Heat and Knicks. Jason Jackson, Amy Audibert will have your call from the Kaseya Center tonight as the Heat open up their home season. They got them. They got the Hornets. And then they go on the road for a while. They're going to start a road trip. But obviously this is we knew this was going to be a challenging test for the Heat early on in the season. And the Knicks are no different. That's one of the better teams in the East. So they swept the Heat last year. Hopeful that the Heat can go and get one there tonight. But it would be nice if the Dolphins can keep this perfect South Florida weekend rolling here, dude. Because my God, Tua with a visor, unbelievable, unfreaking believable. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. So we got that all coming your way. Challenges aside, he must go out there and he must do it. And so we will go out. The Dolphins.
Any theories to how he got a swollen eye? Any theories pop into your head?
He's got 2 babies at home. Kids are gross. Like mystery solved. Kids are
All right.
gross. Probably he probably had a kid sneeze right into his eye. You know, he's probably like, Daddy, I love you. I'm sick. That's how it happens, dude. You know how sick I was when my kids were toddlers? Like all the time. They're just gross little germ bags.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything about it because you're like, they want comfort from you, so you get sick. Like, boom.
Well, it's, you know what it is, right? He's not cleaning those video game controllers that he's so happy playing at home with. You know, he goes home, he plays. What do you think he has? He has PlayStation 5. They're playing like a Sonic video game. The kids touch the remote control, then they pass it over to Tua, and there you go. There's your pink eye, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's crazy. Nick T says fecal matter in the eye. It changes the diaper. I don't know, dude. The kids are gross. I'm telling you, they're gross. Solved it. There you go. That's how it went down. Man, we'll have all the coverage for you later on today as the Dolphins get set to take on the Atlanta Falcons from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. This guy kind of looks like the Panther. What game do you have on here, Dan Day? What is that? What is the soccer match that you have on?
El Clasico.
Is that a big one?
Solana, go ahead.
The biggest one. I have it on here too, and I'm
What do you
actually
mean
down.
the biggest one. What does that mean? The biggest one.
It's the 2 biggest clubs in the world, 2 best teams in Spain, Barcelona and Real Madrid. This is like Yankees, Red Sox.
Okay, but this is for the championship or just for bragging rights?
No, I mean they play 2 times during the regular season. This is the first of those editions. This is being played in the Santiago Bernabeu, which is where the Miami Dolphins will play their game in Madrid against the Washington Commanders.
Keep our turf in line, all right? The Real
Madrid. Have you seen?
It looks good. I'm watching it right now.
Have you seen the system in place?
No.
At the stadium to keep the turf like the standard of the turf, the top quality. Look it up. Look up Real Madrid stadium turf on Google. It's literally they bring the turf after the game into layers robotically. Wow. Underneath the stadium, and there's a whole irrigation system built in to keep this like the highest level. It's the most state-of-the-art system ever created for turf.
Tobin, of all things you should Google today is Real Madrid turf.
I like it. I will do that as soon as we get off the air here. Enjoy the games, everybody. We'll talk to you rascals later today.
And that's a wrap on the Week 8 chapter of Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans.